I felt like his writing kind of took a step back on this song a little bit. Like it wasn't as creative. There wasn't as much play on words in this song and stuff. I don't know.
All right, that's
Long
enough from you,
blue.
Dan. That's enough. That's enough for you. Let's move on to the next song here.
I'm sorry.
I'm Angel. I will be hosting this podcast for this episode. We're going to be covering "Man on the Moon" by Kid Cudi. We got Dan. Nice. And then we got Kyle, the one and only.
Hi.
Give us a big old smile.
Hi.
Oh. So, before we get started with the album, got one question that's just related to the album, and want to pose this question for everyone here. How much do you think an artist plays a role in being a role model for its audience? Do you think that they should have very little responsibility? Some, I know that's been a topic that comes in and out in music in the past. There's been many moments of that, and this is something that the artist talks about in this album that we will get into later. So I guess I'll start first. I think you know this is a very tricky question because especially me becoming a parent. My kid is 13 years old, and a parent can have so much control over what the kid does, listen to, especially when they're out there more in the real world. Um, but then again, being an artist myself and being in music, you want to be free as you can to explore every aspect and domain of your craft. So I'm gonna go out on a limb and say the artist should do whatever the hell they want because the parent should be able to, if done correctly, or I mean not correctly, but if they do their best they can to raise their child, you know, in a way that when those things are introduced, they can kind of like look out for themselves, or they can be somewhat conscious of how they're perceiving, the content because one of my personal experience was like Eminem. My mom was raging angry when I bought the Marshall Mathers LP album. She was not down for that at all.
Well, he does talk about killing his mom a lot in that
Yeah,
one.
but
So.
he rhymed mad good though. So what he wanted? He didn't like his mom that much.
Yeah, so why
You know,
she
he
was
was
a
just
bitch anyway?
he just talking. He didn't do it. He was just talking. Um, but and I had a group of friends. That was a while back when I lived in New Bedford, and we all
Not
didn't have
mandatory.
the same reaction to it. Um, there was a lot of talk on the media at the time. We trying to connect into the what is it, school shootings, and he had Marilyn Manson on that track, blah blah blah, this and that. Even though that happened, it's very similar to like video games. Not every kid that plays Call of Duty is going to be a shooter or act out on it or act on it. I feel like it's more deeper than that. You know, because they could have picked anything else to abuse religion, politics, whatever it may be. Something happened to me, in my opinion, something happened in the psychology that the gears were already infected at. Yeah, the music didn't help or the video game didn't help for that particular person. So I think it's important to consider the individual. So that's my take on it. Um, I don't want to babble on too long, but I'll pass it on to Dan. What's your thoughts on this question?
uh, I think it's once you get into that type of a world, it's unfortunately inevitable that you are going to be perceived that way as an influence or someone that someone will kind of gravitate towards, and they'll think, oh, just because my favorite artist or musician does it, then or they talk about it, then it's okay for me. But I think at the end of the day, it does fall onto the parents to kind of correct it and say, hey, like I've had conversations with my kids saying, hey, look, this is art. Listen to whatever you want. I'm fine with it. but I had a responsible conversation with him, saying like, this is art. Just because whatever you hear or see or do, it doesn't apply to you in your life and your morals. That doesn't have to dictate what way you go either. You can like something, but it doesn't mean you have to live that something too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree with you. Where I feel like it's up to the parent to kind of steer, kind of direct their kids into the right path. But it's okay for them to listen to
Right.
other
Because
stuff.
I agree. Yeah, because we can create a society, a more ideal to try to and go that way, but that's not the reality. And
Hmm.
you can go even deeper. You can talk about nature. Like even if we were indigenous people in the wild, they're gonna see some stuff. They're gonna have to learn how to. So it's inevitable to not to try to escape the harshness of reality. Wish you shouldn't, because those are things that make you stronger. All right, Keely, what you got about this topic?
Yeah, this is actually a fairly complex question, I think, because I want to be able to say, artists should be able to do whatever they kind of want to do as it pertains to their art, and they shouldn't be held to a standard of celebrity. But at the same time, we praise the artists that we like when they do something cool. So if you can give them praise, then they should also be subject to criticism. So if they're doing something irresponsible, you should at least point it out. I don't think they should be punished for it or banned from doing it, but it's the cult of personality and like the celebrity effect that kind of happens once you become famous or get super popular. And you were talking about nature. That's probably part of our DNA. Like back when we were cave people or tribes or whatever, you had somebody leading the tribe, and they were probably the celebrity. Or the church, the popes and the bishops and the cardinals, they were like fucking rock stars back in the day because it's that cult of personality. So today we have it with actors and musicians and all that kind of stuff. So it's just that's like Dan said, it's inevitable that we're gonna have people in the entertainment world or just in the world that we look up to or that we hold to a higher standard, even though it's probably not fair. Um, but I do still, at my core, think what you shouldn't stifle creativity or art because of the fear of consequence, just because somebody might misinterpret it, like the Marilyn Manson thing, and do
Yeah.
something awful. Um, that's you can't blame Marilyn Manson for what happened. You can. It's easy to point to him because that's a clean fix. Oh, it's his fault.
Yeah.
It's this celebrity's fault. We can blame that person, and then like you guys were saying, the parents don't have to take accountability. School doesn't have to take accountability. You don't have to, kids being bullies or whatever the fuck happened, or the depression or like the lack of attention to that kid. You don't have to look at any of that stuff. You can just blame it all on one person, and that's not fair. It's kind of inevitable that, like I said, that cult of personality and that celebrity status will happen, but it's not. You shouldn't punish art for it. I don't think.
Mm.
Let
Yeah,
art.
we mad bias. We're all artists. Of course, we're gonna root for the art. If we
Yeah.
had Dr. Phil in here, it would have been a whole different.
I mean, I guess if you're talking like the line, if we want to establish a line, you'd have to be within the law. You can't
Yeah.
just a guy can't go stabbing people and be like, "Well, I'm doing it for my art, man." You can't,
Yeah.
there's got to be a line somewhere, and I'd say it's got probably the law would be the line. If you're not breaking the law, then who gives a fuck?
Yeah. Like an extremist, political activism like that.
Hmm.
It's like, oh, okay, hold on. We don't. You can protest, but we don't need to bring the AKs and all this stuff. Like this is,
Yeah.
we're trying to be better than this. We're trying to fight our animal instincts, and we're trying to, evolve.
Right.
But yeah, I like you guys' take, especially with that whole thing you said about the indigenous leaders and
Hmm.
that parallel thing with celebrities today.
Hmm.
Because a lot of those leaders were really brutal. You know what I'm saying? Like sacrificing virgins and all kinds of stuff. I'm sure maybe a lot of this textbook exaggerates those things or whatever, but we know that there, that was definitely a thing in certain cases, and not all in the
Right.
past.
Right.
All right, so let's get into the album. Man of the Moon, Kid Cudi. I'm gonna start with the intro. In My Dreams. That's the name of the track. And this track right here sets the tone for the album right off the bat. I think this is a snare coming in with that eco reverb, giving it sort of like that clockwork effect. Um, You got this like floaty, ambient limbo space feeling, um, and it ends with Common coming in there and putting posing a philosophical muse, if you will. He says the line, "Long before we know ourselves, our path is set in stone." Like right there, that first line. It's just it was just so nice how the track sets you up for that headspace and that musing. Um, was just perfect to start off this album. And when he says those lines, the first thing I think about is one of those things that I talked about in philosophy, where you have the free will versus destiny thing, and you can go on a tangent talking about that. Like, am I meant to be doing this, or do I really, if I go to a different path, is it really for me? So it can go into purpose, identity, and all that stuff. Yeah, that first track, it really sets the mood for the entire album. That's pretty much my take on that intro. What do you think, Dan?
Why don't you start with Red on this one?
Okay, Rad, go ahead.
All right. Yeah, I like the pacing of it. Like you said, it's a really nice, an appropriate way to start an album like this. And we'll talk more about the themes that are kind of present throughout the album as we get to the different songs. But this, uh, nice and slow, like dreamlike, like you said, very floaty. It's got that, I don't know what that is, that wow, but yeah, it's very atmospheric. It's got whatever that thing is. It's got that echoey snare that you're talking about, some strings at the end when the monologue kicks in. Um, and he says it. This is one of the themes that runs throughout, but talking about vulnerabilities and dreams
Mm,
and personal issues and human issues. This is very not. I'm not somebody that typically listens to hip hop a lot, but the hip hop that I have listened to when I was younger, a lot of it is like very aggro, very testosterone driven. Like I'm cool, I'm tough, I'm mean, I'm the best, whatever the fuck. It's not a whole lot of room for vulnerability of like, hey, I'm sad, I'm lost, I don't know what to do.
hmm.
There's not usually a lot of that, at least in the hip hop that I've listened to. And he's already mentioning here in the monologue that here's a kid that's been talking about his vulnerabilities and other human emotions, uh, speaking to us from the underground. So it's already setting that tone, like you said. And I like that those monologues throughout this album are kind of like act breaks. Like you're setting up Act 1, Act
Yeah.
2,
Yep.
Act 3.
Yep.
It's kind of cool.
I really like that. I really like that. And what you just mentioned is very the thing about being a lot of ego and aggression in rap music, very male thinking, very dominant thinking, as I should say, very dominant, very alpha like. Because Kid Cudi in an interview, I'm not gonna go into it now, but there's a specific song where he's like focusing into that, and
Mm.
uh
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Well, I'm not gonna into it now. I'm gonna save it for a little later.
Yep.
So how about you, Dan?
Uh, I like the arrangements on it. I like that floaty atmospheric vibe that it had. But and as a intro, I think it's good. But I also wanted something a little bit. I don't know, something. I wanted more from it.
Like a
I don't
higher
know how
energy.
to. Uh, no, because you could start off the record that way,
Hmm.
but I don't know. Spend more time on the monologue portion of it, or more of a build up on the instrumental side of it, or the rhythm. I'm not really sure, but I felt like there was a little bit more to be desired out of that intro. But I took it as it was just an intro, so I kind of left it like, yeah, all right. I don't know. I just felt
Yeah.
like there was more to be desired out of it. That
Right.
was,
Right. But yeah, I
but
could. I
I
could.
I
Hmm.
did like the monologue at the end. Like, even if they just took that as, like you said, like a chapter, if they did something where it was more like, when you watch a movie and they have the monologues or whatever, like it was more of something to signify that, it
Yeah.
would have been a little bit more cooler instead of just him jumping in right after all this, you
Hmm.
know, I don't know, just something. I felt like there was a little bit more that could have been to that song.
Right.
That's
Right. Right. Yeah, and that would have been interesting to see if he does one of those things where they redo the album and re-edit it, see if how we would go about it. Now that he has more resources and stuff, if it was really a resource thing or was it just a, like a like a creativity or something, or direction that would be more ideal to introduce the album. I'll be definitely open for that, definitely for
Yeah.
sure.
You said Common did that monologue?
Yeah, yeah,
Does he do the other ones too?
yeah.
So did he produce the album?
No,
Oh,
it
he was
was
just
a
featured.
series of different producers, but
Ah.
the main people was one guy from an electronic duo called Ratatat. The guy's name is Evax. Yeah, one of the guys. There's two of them. 'Cause that's what duo means. Yeah,
Ah, thanks
the
for
cat ears are
clarifying.
perfect today.
Thanks
Yeah,
for clarifying that one.
yeah.
Meow.
Duo means two,
Meow.
and uno is one. I'm so smart. Yeah, okay.
Nice.
Um, yeah. So it was but the majority of the album was, and then another group, MGMT or something like that. That one I didn't get into too much. I couldn't get much info on that because again, there was some of these producers were definitely well known and were out there, and some of them were just kind of like I guess they still haven't broken out into the mainstream or whatever it was. So it was interesting how he was able to get these types of connections and then, like with comment thing, but then kind of like suffer in other ways. So there was a lot going on with this album, a lot of, up and down. All right. So next track, soundtrack to my life. Uh, this one, when I first heard this song, I was just like, immediately it just catch my ear. The very first line, like just that first line, I got 99 bitches and I got 99 problems and they all bitches. Wish I
Wish
was
I was
Jigga
Jigga
Man,
Man.
carefree living, but I'm not Sean. And it's weird because I don't listen to this album when I first heard it in college. Um, I listened to it a lot, but I didn't. It wasn't like I was trying to learn the lyrics. It's just they just something about it, just like and I would spend years without listening to the album, and I would still know a lot of the words more than I think, especially when I played in the car after 2 years. So I was just like, man, it's just so crazy because I don't listen to this album on the regular so much, but these lyrics just seem to stick. And when he makes that reference to Jay Z, um, in an interview, he was talking about. Now I'm going to address that thing that you were saying earlier,
Mm-hmm.
Kyle, with hip hop, male domination, being male dominated, ego driven, blah blah, and that. So Kid Cudi said that when he was making this album, he said that one of the things he wished he saw in hip hop more was more vulnerability, more emotional, more emotions that will probably be looked at as I'm not gonna intellectualize this. He just didn't want to look like a bitch. Like he just, what I mean? Like he's like,
Yeah, I got
man,
you.
I'm a bitch. Like I can't live. Like he's almost like emo, like like and
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
he, yeah, he wanted to hear, and it's interesting because like it doesn't just go for rap. It's just like the whole idea of a man. Like
Yeah.
we're supposed to be all this thing, but we also have emotions too. But anyways, long story short, he wanted to do this for this album. It's like I want to show weakness. I want to show well, not weakness, but it's just like emotional turbulence, like those things that most rappers won't talk about because they're trying to hide it with toughness and stuff like that. And he said that, and he said in an interview, he was just like, "Man, I would listen to Jay Z, and I was like, oh, this is great. I like this, I like that, this and that." But everything else, I can't relate to him. I don't got money. I don't got a bitch. I don't got.
Right.
I don't got that. Like I can't.
Right.
Like I love his rhymes, but I can't relate to this man. No, I don't. And it's just it was great. And I think he did it in a TED talk too. He talked about that a little bit. Um, but anyways, yeah, this it just grasped me when he said that. I was just like, wow, man, I don't think I heard something like this. And the song starts off with it's actually a guitar riff, with flange and reverb, I believe it is. I didn't look this up, but that's what it sounded like to me. It sounded almost like octave voicings. Just right off riff, just a nice little riff, to latch onto. Um, and then as far as the words go, he goes into like his upbringing a little bit. He's like, father died of cancer, still a toddler. Um, Another expression of where this vulnerability might be coming from. Maybe a little bit of like dad issues or something like that. And then the chorus, just I got some issues that nobody can see, and all of these emotions are pouring out of me. Like I didn't know I knew that. Like that's how much these words stuck with me.
Yeah.
And then one of my favorite lines, as far as like rhyme goes and scheme, but also like catchiness, not so much on technicality. There was one where he says, "The moon will illuminate my room, and soon I consumed by my doom."
Yeah.
Like a lot of that in Turner. I was like, "Oh man, that's so nice,"
Yeah, I like that line a lot.
Oh, I love that line. Um,
And
and
then
then
what's sorry to cut you off, but what's really cool too, like right after that line, where it's really kind of clever and like you were talking like the turnarounds or whatever. The next line is, "Once upon a time, nobody gave a fuck. It's
fuck,
all said and done, and my cock's
and my
been
cock's
sucked."
been
So like,
sucked.
going back to
Yeah,
being crass about it too. So he's got this really clever thing, and then he's being crass over here.
yeah.
It's kind of
He's
cool.
always almost like he likes to be silly
Yeah,
and
yeah,
just
yeah,
say all
yeah.
this stuff, and it's just like,
Yep.
there's a lot of that in here. And there was one particular line, another song where I was like, I know Dan probably definitely heard this part, and he's gonna probably talk about it, but we'll get there when we get there.
Why?
I'm trying to get in my head
Why
because I
me?
love this, huh? Because
Did you
it's
write it
toilet humor.
down?
He
'Cause
talks about titties and sucking, and all that stuff, and I was like, yeah,
Are you talking about?
a little bit of that
Yeah,
toilet
yeah, yeah.
humor,
We'll get there
like.
when we get there. I know which one you're talking about. Yep.
uh,
I
so
don't know if I know what it is off
uh,
the top of my head. But
yeah.
good.
Um, and then oh yeah, and another line he says something about smoking Cali tree, pussy, and it's all I need. Not really satisfied with both. That's just the saddest lie. That line right there is so deep because he's talking about like the pleasures in life that are more like, I guess you can say what they say now, like dopamine driven, impulsive, sex, drugs, and stuff like that. But they're not like long term. And then at the end, you can exhaust those pleasures. And he talks about this a lot in this album. This whole concept of like where to get contentment from short things or long term things, and just that battle of that. And that's super relatable with anybody. But anyways, so that's my spiel for that. Keely, you want to go next?
Yeah.
What did soundtrack to my life do to you?
I love this song. This is the first song on the album, like the first true song or whatever. But I guess "In My Dreams" has a chorus. But one thing that this album is full of, and Kid Cudi loves a big catchy chorus. They're fucking everywhere on this album.
Yep.
Big poppy, catchy, like emotional, like open chorus. They're fucking everywhere, especially in this song. Um, we were talking about the vulnerabilities. That I got a bunch of lines written down here. They all didn't see the little bit of sadness in me. You already talked about since my father died, I ain't been right since. The self-deprecation in his own lyrics, like
Yep.
kind of like mocking or like playing around with the idea of like, yeah, just gonna go get my cock sucked and get some pussy and get some weed and everything's cool. But then he touches it like you were talking about that line, touches it at the end. And I get both never truly satisfied. I am happy. That's just the saddest lie. It's like, yep, there's that vulnerability again. So like
Yeah.
he's it's like acknowledging the mask that we put up of like, yeah, I'm cool, man, I'm cool, everything's
Yep.
fine, and then he's just like dropping it a little bit and be like, yeah, no, it's just because someone's telling you they're fine doesn't mean that they're fine. Just because they're
Yep.
somebody tells you like, yeah, man, I just bought this new car, I just got this new shit, I'm going to do that, this, whatever, like everything's cool. There might be something that they're not telling you that you're not seeing, that you're not hearing, because it's hard for men to be vulnerable, which is what you already talked about. But yeah, those lines, they really stuck out to me, and that chorus is huge. You were talking about it too. It's super catchy. I don't know if you'd call it a chorus or a hook or whatever, but he's got these everywhere on this album. So yeah, I
Yeah.
love this song.
Yeah, and it's like catchy, not in the sense where like you're like I don't want to like throw shade too much, but you're the ones that usually get, at least from like deeper artists, if you will, especially like Corey Taylor when he talks about like how he upset with the pop scene and stuff like that. Like it's catchy, but not like in that shallow way.
Right.
Um, Stuff like that.
It's catchy musically. Like
It's catchy musically. It's catchy to get you somewhere deep, and it's just like, oh, it's just a good combination of those things.
yeah.
But all right, Dan, what you got for this?
Uh, I like the contrast from the first song to this song. I like how this is a little bit more upbeat and it has a little bit more energy to it. I was very hopeful that, like, oh, this made me hopeful going into the rest of the album, hearing this. But I felt like his delivery was a little bland. It was very like monotone in the verses, and it's just not very animated, not very like it didn't have much of emotion to it.
Mm.
So it kind of pulled me away from it a little bit, but I had to go back, listen to it. I had to listen to this album a couple times, quite a few times.
Yeah.
Uh, Try to pull the meaning and everything out of everything. So I thought it was cool. Some of his wordplay, I liked it. Started to see his writing chops and everything. So that was a little cool. But like I said, it just took a lot to get there for me because of the bland delivery. You have this awesome beat in the background, and his bland delivery over the top kind of
Mm.
separates the two to me.
It's
Yeah. And that would.
interesting.
Mhm. Oh, go ahead, Kyle.
Oh,
Yep.
just the difference in taste, I guess. Because yeah, I could kind of see what you're saying. Like that's just kind of his maybe that's just his delivery style or his flow style or
Oh,
whatever. But
let's wait.
okay. What I will say that I like this isn't really a commentary on the content itself, but more the production. I
Mm.
like how human it sounds. Like specifically, you can hear the breathing. Like when he takes a
Yeah.
breath before he starts to say something, and you can tell when something's not chopped, when something he's doing something kind of like in one long take, not the whole
Yeah.
song in one take, but he's running a long line. You can hear him breathing in between, like taking a breath in between. That's I just like that it sounds human. It doesn't.
That's so funny. I
Yeah.
was thinking one of those things, and I was thinking because he's talking about being in a state of melancholy, being in a state of being morose, and like just very. And when you're in those states, you know, if when you're really in that state, you're not very true. You're not very out. It's just you're just like flatlining. It's like you're dead inside. So I
Mm.
thought it was full of emotion
Hmm.
in that sense, in the deadness of that sense. So
No,
I
yeah,
yeah.
it is, but it just because of that. By the time that the first listen to it,
Hmm.
I was like, "This is going to be a tough one."
So it took you a little while
And
to
then
get there
I
to
had to
it.
listen to it again and again, and then I had to pull up the lyrics and read the lyrics. So,
Yeah.
like when I listen to an album, I don't want all the lyrics. I want to listen to the album first.
I'm the
Right,
same
right,
way.
right. Yeah, you got to be a stoner, and I was stoned a lot. So there you go. That's why
Well,
I sounded great.
I got that written down somewhere else.
uh, and that's fine. That's and that's also something that would have been very interesting to see. To okay, what if he got coached that way? To like, hey, listen, you're going this. Let's just let's exacerbate certain things, use more dynamics, and see how that would have
Like
turned out with the song.
to me, his delivery and the tempo and everything of the rhythm did not match,
That's
and
so
so
weird. Yeah.
there
That's
was like
weird.
a
Yeah.
disconnect.
No, it's all right. Keep going, Dan. Yeah.
No, that there was a disconnect to the song, and that
Mm,
like for me at least.
yeah. I'm starting to think maybe there's some sort of bias going on with because me I feel I'm with more Kyle on this one. Like I feel like it was just fucking great the way it was. It just like and I could just listen to that over and over, but hey, it's all right. That I'm glad to get a perspective on the opposite end
Yeah.
because obviously this album didn't hit everybody the same. And it's good to hear like what could have been.
Let's be clear to everyone: you guys have a past association with this album
That's a
Right.
bias right there,
Yeah.
a little bit biased
that
there.
I do not have. So I was going. I've never heard this album. I went into this completely like I maybe have heard. I can't say I've never heard it because I feel like I probably have heard a song or two in passing or at a party or something, but I've never sat down and tried to listen to it and break it down and understand it. So I'm going into this completely blind where you guys, when you're listening to it, you're also getting those flashback of
Yep.
happy
Yep.
memories and shit like that.
For sure.
So I don't have that. So you
Yeah.
guys are going to have a different feeling towards this than
And
I am.
that's very important to point out because that happens a lot amongst people with albums. Like one person they're completely inspired, and the other person's like, I don't understand the big deal.
Hmm.
Like because that plays a huge role what Dan's talking about.
Yeah.
Going off veering course a little bit, but related. There's an artist named Cannabis, and I had a
Mm.
friend who was obsessed with this artist. But when I first listened to it without him saying anything, I was like, oh man, this is like too much going on. I don't get it. But when he broke it down for me, and then we went, and it's like, oh my god, this man's a genius. So I think that there's definitely that bias going on with this album. So it's good to hear these differences and being talked about like this, because
Right,
that happened not just with the album, this happened all over the place with many things, with
right.
many
Yeah.
albums.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right, so next track, Simple As. This one, this one I didn't write too. Oh, before I get into this song, there are definitely some songs in here that I was like, man, I wish they pushed me like the big ones, the Solo Dolo, the Pursuit of Happiness, that would have an effect. Not every single song had an effect on me like that, but those songs were just so strong, and
hmm
I wish that would have been more of the album itself. But when I looked into it, the guy was really struggling at the time, and he didn't. So I kind of sort of like, all right, so I had a little empathy with that, and I was like, oh, you know what? He did the best he could. He didn't have all the. And I go back to more of the resources a little bit more, because he could have ran into certain people to try to make certain songs better for, like Dan, like as we just discussed with Soundtrack to My Life. Like, what if you ran into like more influences at the time, more like Jay-Z, or like more of these guys that he admired, stuff like that. Like, what could have been out of this album to make it more reachable for everyone. But this song, Simple As, what I got in this is oh, actually, this one I wrote, there is a part where he's conscious about his image as a role model. He says, I gotta
Terminate the
terminate the
negative.
negative, spread the positive, yeah, without being whack and cheesy to these little kids. Theme of, oh, I'm kind of butchering this, but you get the line. Like, it's m- this line right here is like a theme of identity. He says, again, I said, I gotta terminate the negative stuff, spread the positive without seeming like a Will Smith type or stuff like that. Like, it's
hmm
still being what I am, as explicit as he is, you
Right.
know. And this one is a strong theme for me about identity shaping when you're trying to develop as an artist. Right there, that line is very important. Um, and then again, we got Common coming back, doing a little prelude to the Solo Dolo thing, and he says, "Rise of the Night Terrors." Talks about his panic attacks and stuff like that, and setting up setting up the headspace for the next song as he's coming out of this. So, not too that one didn't have too much of a. I think that track was okay, but those are the things that stood out for me in this track. So okay, what do you got for this one for Simple As?
I like the upbeat tone on this actually, and I think that ties into it to the monologue that you were talking about, how it sets up the night terrors. That's kind of like Act Two is now starting. I can't tell if it's supposed to be themed around a dream or themed
Mm.
around like a drug trip or something, but it's like the different stages of
Mm.
dreaming or sleeping or being on a trip or like even just thinking like being in your own head too much and like all the different pathways that you can go down. But this was
Yep.
like the happy upbeat song and like oh it's about to turn. You're about to have a bad trip. There's about to be a nightmare. Here are the night terrors. So it's that's just how I interpret it, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, why big bro take all the hot bitches? Dear God, me too. I like the hot bitches. That's my favorite line in the song. um, yeah, I didn't have a whole lot written down on this either. I think this song served the purpose to have an upbeat feel and then transition into the Night Terrors section. So,
It's funny that you bring this up because it is an upbeat kind of thing, and I noticed that when I was taking notes on this, I was just like, oh man, I just started noticing that I'm more drawn to the more depressed stuff. Surprise, because you guys know me so well. Diagnosed with severe depression by two different psychologists, blah blah stuff like that. So, oh my god,
yeah,
but I think after looking up how, especially the TED Talks in this interview, um, this is one of those songs where like he wants to keep it up, being under the influence of pot and just like life and stuff like that and whatever, and like he's talking about the highs on this. So this whole album in its entirety, there's a lot of highs and lows and highs and lows. It only makes
yeah,
sense to talk about the highs in a, you know, just by musically speaking to bring it up. So
right.
it makes sense. Um, but yeah. So Dan, what you got on this?
Uh, thought the in the beginning of the song, I thought the drum pattern was good, but it was too repetitive throughout
Yeah,
the whole thing. There was no break in anything. I
yeah,
think that's kind of why you guys don't really talk about much on this song. Was I could see the creativity in him on this song at the same time, but as
Yep.
far as production value and stuff like that or direction, it just was phoned in. So
yeah,
it wasn't that good. Like I said, I could see like what Kyle was saying. Was it a drug trip? Was it uh, uh, a bad dream, a nightmare, something like that? Like what's going on here? I think to me, I took it as it's left for the person's interpretation. It's up for interpretation to the
mhm,
listener, and
yeah,
that I thought was kind of cool the way they were going that way with it. Like I definitely got that kind of a vibe from it, but other than that, it was like the production value on the song. Tell you, this is where I started to get real discouraged
yeah.
Yeah.
And
on this
I don't
album.
blame you. Yeah, this is it's just this. Yeah, it's a little disappointing because I don't want to agree with you, but I do. You know, I really don't. I really don't want to agree with you, but it's just like yeah.
I th- I thought the same problems from in my life carry over in this again. It's just bland delivery.
Mhm.
I felt like his writing kind of took a step back on this song a little bit. Like it wasn't as creative. There wasn't as much play on words in this song and stuff. I don't know.
All right,
Long
that's
words
enough from you,
booty.
Dan. That's enough. That's
I,
enough for you. Let's move on to the next song here.
I'm
Enough for you.
sorry.
No.
I'm sorry.
I'm just
Hey,
playing. I'm just trying to be funny. No, I agree with you. I wish there was more things happening at that time for his life where he could have. Because I really think that if he met, because
I
he didn't stick to one producer. It was
I'll tell you.
different.
Wait, wait,
Yeah,
wait. I see what you're saying.
yeah,
I have an answer for him,
yeah.
and I'm gonna wait to the end.
Okay, all right. Okay, so we'll move on to the next track. Solo Dolo. This song, man, one of the most darker songs out of all the track. I really, really love. This is another one that just like my depression, just love this song. Like
Yeah.
it's just like, yeah, I just sit in my seat and just cry a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, but the ambience in this song, very another what's what I like about this track right off rip, it reminds me of the intro. A lot of that clockwork kind of like spacey ticking sort of like feel. They actually uses what I like about this album too is like he uses a lot of real instruments, not just relying on samples and stuff like that. And you can hear that bass line comes right after that clockwork melody thing that's giving it that head spacey kind of feel. And you got the bass that looks like it's not tampered with much. It's just like a simple bass tone from that bass guitar. Um, and it almost and because of the lack of instruments and tracks in this, it almost felt a cappella like. And I feel like that really works with the song and the theme overall because it felt like a cry for help. And for when someone is in a state of cry for help, they're just kind of just they might if they are vocal about it, um, it complements that because they're in a very deep depressing state. Not much is going on in the background, so it's just really inner focus. And that's what happens when we're really in those type of states. We're really kind of so focused on ourselves, and so I felt like the acapella feel with the lack of instruments was right for this. The line that stood out to me in these songs were, "Why must it feel wrong when I try to do right?" I think there's something deep going on with this line. It's
Hmm.
like the whole pushing off. I think what I think it means is he's pushing off pleasure to try to and sacrifices to try to get something in the long term, in the long run, as opposed to giving into the sex and weed and this and that, which are short hits, this and that, followed by like a crash and this and that. But when we're trying to do the right things in our life, it's hard to enjoy it for at least for most of us, to try to endure the process um, to get somewhere great and involve ourselves. Um, and another part where he says, "I don't." For some reason, this line I like this line too when he just says, "I don't need help." Um, I didn't write the whole line, but he said, "I don't need help." Something something sounds of insanity. He knows that the state he's in is not it's not good for him, but at least he's kind of like meta on. He's aware of himself. Like, yo, this is insane what I'm talking about. Like, this is not reality. I'm just like not in a good headspace. But it makes you feel like it's okay. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much what I got for this track. I'll keep it a little short, my part. Well, I'm gonna hand it off to you, Kyle.
Sorry.
What you take away from this?
Um, yeah, definitely. It's that first song, like we talked about, into that Night Terrors or the Nightmare section of the album. Definitely darker, slower pacing, more stripped down, kind of bare bones. You said acapella. That's a good way to think about that. Um, another another example of a catchy, I think it's catchy anyway, or like a melodic, a melody driven chorus on this. Especially the why must it feel so like that's another
Yeah.
big chorus. Um,
Yep.
and this I could say this for literally every song on the rest of this album. I don't. There might be one song that doesn't have a big chorus like this on it after this song, but I'll stop referencing that now. But
I know, and there's a
Cudi
pause
loves his
right there.
choruses. Yeah.
Yeah,
Huh?
yeah, that line that you said when I what is it again? It's why must it feel so wrong when I try and
Yep.
do right? He
Yep.
uses spacing, a
Spacing.
lot of
Yes.
spacing in this. I was like, oh yeah, because he's like, you can feel it, like he's having this existential burden. Like, man, it's like
Yeah.
and you feel it in that small pause in between. He could have done it earlier, could have done it another part, but it felt better at that part
Right.
on the line.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm glad you pointed that out.
I really like the last line in the song. When will I ever learn from the words in my songs? So
Yep.
he's like, he knows he has, you know, thoughts about the right thing to do or the right way to do things, and he's writing them down, and it's all coming from him. So he knows better, but it's still
Mhm.
hard. Yeah. All right. I'll end it there. That last line was critical to me, I think.
All right, Danny, what you got? I never called you Danny, by the way.
Uh, I
Danny.
think the first thing, the messaging for the song stood out to me. I thought this was pretty cool messaging. I think more people should try to dive into it and take their own interpretation. So I don't really want to dive into that too much because you guys also already talked about that a lot.
Well,
But I
instrumental
feel
wise,
like,
yeah,
huh?
instrumental wise, did it? What did you think
Yeah,
about it?
yeah. It missed the mark, man.
Yeah. Oh, I
It
loved it.
did.
I think it's
Yeah.
With
well.
the chorus, the hold on, with the chorus, with the part that you're talking about, oh, it's a big chorus. It's not. The instrumentals drop out. They needed
Well,
to fill out more space with the instrumentals to parallel with the big vocal delivery that they have on top of it to make it something. And that would have even tied into the emotion that's going into the song more. So it just, I feel like, again, they missed their mark on this one.
Mm. Yeah. Um.
Like the messaging was real strong. Again, this was another one where I had to go back and back and back. And I'm like, it, even the first time I heard it, like there's something there, but it just, they didn't execute it correctly. It didn't
Mm,
get, they couldn't quite cross that finish line.
I
It was
respect your
mm,
almost there.
I respect your take on it. I guess to me it felt like a big chorus because first of all the melody's there, especially with the oh whoa whoas, but also like the you're talking instrumentally. I think this obviously it was intentional to do it that way, but it's tonal for the song. The whole song is very
That's, yeah, the whole
sad
song's
and
tonal. The
soft
only
and
thing that
somber.
makes it big is this, the chorus,
Hmm.
mm.
the vocals.
They do got
That's
some.
it. That doesn't make a big chorus.
They got some strings
That
on it,
makes
you
a
know.
big vocal chorus with a lot of space to be filled out. We'll fill it
Mm.
out.
It's
The
an interesting.
space. So the space that you're talking about, I feel like I felt the space with, like, that clicking sound that's in the back.
That's
It's
what
very
we
reverberated. It's very reverberated in a very
that's what we
simplistic
added to
way.
the
So if
chorus to separate the chorus. That's what we're adding. Is a
well,
click.
There are strings on it too.
there's some strings, but
Not
it's
not
yeah.
enough. It
Mm,
needed to be bigger. To me,
mm,
again, this
Yeah.
is to
Yeah.
me. This
Yep.
is my interpretation. Like it felt because of they didn't fill that space enough or
mm.
amplify it. That got drowned out a lot. It just clearly put you focused on that vocal portion of it, and it just it kind of felt flat to me. The song rhythmically kind of felt flat.
Oh, that's so interesting because I've pictured myself in, let's say I'm in a room, really, really gigantic, way too big for me. And it made me feel like the person feels very small, very kind of like broken down, this and that. And all the little things that they added complements, or at least like it creates that space between himself and the whole universe, like as if he's just floating in space, but there's really no stars or anything. It's just blackness and darkness, and
But
you know,
now,
yeah,
just
it's like a
hear me
different
out
sense
for a
of
sec.
space. Yeah.
Hear me out for a sec. Picture that same chorus
Yep.
with like a bigger string quartet behind it, with a
Mm,
bigger percussion section.
mm.
Doesn't that make that now more impactful than using the negative space?
I don't know. That negative space really does it for me because I've heard of that a lot so many times that it was interesting for me to see people to see these producers try to do it in the opposite direction rather than trying to make it symphonic and then adding this and the wall of sound
Well,
and
I'm
this
not
and that,
saying symphonic, even if they just boosted up the volume on what they had.
Oh, so that's what you do. You just like just tweak a little more of the violins louder.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not saying, but I'm just trying to use that as like
Oh, I thought you
something
were trying
that
to go
you
for
could
like a
relate
wall of
to.
sound. I thought that's what you're trying to get at.
No, but
Yeah.
I'm saying
Oh.
like it's very tonal, and then there's just this big vocal chorus, which is great,
Yep.
but there's nothing supporting that underneath it
Mm,
because it sounds like the beat, the track behind it is just flat throughout, and it's like
mm,
if you here comes this big vocal chorus, if you boost that up now, it bumps it out even further.
mm. All right, that's enough for you from you, Dan. No more. We're gonna move on to the next song. I'm trying to like. I wish this was done in that way, just to see if I would end up wanting to like the newer version of this or like your, and try to see what would I, what would my reaction be in that situation.
Well, we'll
Because
never
right now,
know.
right now I'm resisting. I'm like, oh no, it's fine, man. I love the way it is. I don't want to change it. But then again, it's like,
I'll tell you this. I don't hold. So okay, I can say this from this point. I don't know who's the producer. I when it comes to that, I don't really try to learn too much. I don't want to know who produced what or whatever. I
yeah,
want to take it for
for what it is. Yeah, great.
what it is at
Yeah.
surface value
Mm,
or what
yeah,
that artist has to interpret.
yeah.
So far, I did not hear. I didn't get into the hype. I didn't see it. I'm like, there's too many things where I would make the altercation. And this isn't. I get it. I'm wearing a Misfit shirt. Like I know the way I look right now.
Oh,
I
yeah.
am a rap fan.
No,
Like okay, I am a big rap fan. So
yeah,
let's you know.
yeah. It would be
Yeah,
interesting to
Dan, you're
hear.
the problem. I'm
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 just
fucking
saying, like
I'm
I know the way I look. I'm wearing a Misfit,
You are a goddamn son of a
t-shirt.
bitch. Get rid of that top part. That's what you're making me feel right now. I'm trying to resist my fanboy for Kid Cudi right now. So it's like, because I
It's
want to, I
hard.
really,
So like the
really want to
positive
hear it.
things I have to say is in some of his lyrical writing, his rhyme skills, they're pretty good. I think he shows peaks and valleys, but I think that's up for his interpretation, where he's also trying to be playful with his art, and he's not always trying to be super serious one way or another, where he's not trying to overly word vomit or wordsmith things, where he tries
Yeah.
to be playful, which I think is cool when he does do that also. So I think as a rapper, I think it's cool. I think my issue so far with these four songs are more production value wise. So I'm not putting the blame on him. I will say that.
Yeah. Um.
And
Uh.
I think the create like I do see the creative side of it,
Yeah.
and I think they're just to me missing a couple things to hit their target.
Okay, so first of all, fuck you. Second of all, no sir. I'm just gonna start hissing you like a cat, like what was this? Hey, just like, or like two cats. It's like,
Angel, if you could
um,
work in like one of these things where you're cleaning your ear, like in the middle of philosophizing about the theory of music, just like out of nowhere, not even acknowledge it, start doing this, that would be
So
yeah.
great.
the next
I would.
next time I give
And,
my
and then no. I'm totally just being funny. This is that. Um, for the depressing parts that I love, what I should do is I should lift my leg up and start licking my own. Like you know what I'm saying? Like oh, I love that. Ah. Okay, so next track, Heart of a Lion. So this song, when I go back to the album, this is not one of the songs I play a lot, really, but it is a good heart uplifting song. One of the interviews that I watched with this, Kid Cudi brings up this song, and he said that he was trying to make an attempt to do not his own version, but something that's inspired by Eye of the Tiger. I didn't know that. I was like, oh shoot, okay, because he is really into rock music and experimental stuff. He's like really for like a rap artist. He's really he has a very big palette. All right, so like I was saying, Kid Cudi was inspired by Eye of the Tiger to write this. Like he just wanted to make his own, not musically speaking, but more like the message, that kind of thing, to drive something that's more inspiring to get himself up from that whole, especially coming out of Solo Dolo, which is a very, he's we already talked about it, but he's a down in the dumps kind of feel, this and that, and two lines in that song that really stood out. Don't let anyone break me, don't let anyone stop me, and just lines like that throughout the song. I felt like it had a good message. It's strong, but at the same time, it was just not one of those songs that I would probably play on repeat like the other songs that we talked about. So what you got? What you got for this, Kyle?
Yeah, I'm on the same page with you. As this, it's like a rallying cry, very like self motivational. Um, at the end of the day, you can't prevent it, even if you're trying.
Yeah,
So, so it's very, like you said, coming out of Solo Dolo, where it's sad, depressing, and then he's trying to pick himself back up. I got the heart of a lion. You can't prevent it if you were trying. It'll never let you drag me down to hell. That kind of shit. It's a nice break from that depressed down here tone. Kind of brings it back up a little bit. Oh shit, I'm getting a phone call. Ignore
Hmm,
that.
look
Not
at
for the
you.
yeah, not for the faint at heart. This world understand no cowardice. That's another
yeah.
good line.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that line in that
This
song.
world understand no cowardice. Um, another I shouldn't even have to say it at this point, but the chorus again, big melodic. At the end of the
The
day,
day,
day.
day.
Yep.
Yeah. How about you, Dan?
Uh, finally, a song, great message right out of the gate. Awesome lyrical writing on his behalf, uh, and production on this song. Finally, was something like they hit everything on
Wow,
this one.
I'm so surprised
Finally,
by that. I'm so
the part where it says the no, and there's like a break in it,
Yeah.
like that's those little things. Some of
he went
those
and he
other
went low like
songs didn't.
no, like he
Yeah, but then
yeah.
the song breaks
No,
and then it picks back up.
no.
It's like that's just those little things. I thought this song was so far the best one.
Wow, man, I'm glad you said it because that's one of those things that did not expect that all for you to say, especially with this song. Though one of those songs that I kind of I'm overlooking. Um,
No, I think go back and listen to it and see
yeah,
just those little things that they do it throughout this song.
yeah,
There's
I'm
a
gonna
lot of there's a lot of shifting. Sorry, there's a lot of shifting throughout this song. Not a lot, but enough to keep the listener entertained and not feel like you're just being dragged through.
That's
I
a
don't know
good
why.
point.
I don't know why, but your dog is making me feel very uncomfortable.
Why? Oh.
Uh,
I was like, what? Oh, right. It's all right. It's all right. Isn't it right? So which? It's okay.
The sideways thing with the when you do that sideways
The
thing.
hunch, the
Yeah.
hunch,
Right?
the hunchback, where they arch their
Why
back.
you gotta got that dog over here?
I'm gonna get a fucking spray bottle of water. I'm gonna spray the shit out of you.
Got the heart of a lion. No dogs, it's lions, cats.
Oh yeah.
Sounds
Oh,
perfect.
and can I add one more thing?
Yeah,
real
of course,
quick?
hell yeah.
I like the. He's not so bland on this one. It's not
Yeah.
such a flat delivery. So
I guess I
he's a little bit more animated and charismatic.
I like that line towards the end. Um, I will show a part of me no one had thought could be within. And he gives that little like tremolo on in.
Yeah, that's.
That's
I
pretty
mean,
cool.
it
Yeah.
doesn't have to. Everything else was kind of flat in his delivery, which I get. It might be, you know,
A preference.
I guess I
his
like trash,
artistic.
man. That's all it is.
Yeah, because you were like, this song, and I'm like, no, this is
I
the
guess
best one
I
so
guess
far.
I guess as a musician I'm just trash, Dan. 'Cause I just like crap.
I wouldn't
I just like
say
flat
that.
back shit.
I wouldn't say that.
All right, so next song, My World. Um, so this song, what I wrote for this is like I really like the drum sample coming into this. It reminds me more of that '90s gritty feel. It almost felt like I don't know if it was like a tape hiss or something like that going on. There was something very old school about it. Um, there was something interesting going on with me with this with that I found was that there's a clean guitar and a piano. The piano, if you listen to it with headphones, the piano's on the right side, the guitar's on the left. But I didn't look into it, the music sheet or anything, but it sounds like the guitar, what it's playing, it's either I'm not sure if it's in the same key or if there's a rhythm, but something fell off with it, but in a good way, like a good dissonance. And the piano seemed like it was playing the notes off that clean guitar part, and I was like, oh man, this is like it's kind of but it kind of just works with the song overall, and it's interesting that what's going on in the background is the '90s feel kind of like drum samples that I like to call, um, and then the guitar in the chorus I believe switches to more of a picking style, and the piano starts refining into more of an arpeggio. So this song, I actually ended up focusing more on the instrumentals than I did the actual words or anything else. Yeah, and that's pretty much what I took away from the song. And oh yeah, there was one part where he goes, I found it a little funny. I don't know if he was trying to like. To me, I felt like he was kind of like making fun of old school rap. He said N word. I also identify as a cat, not just a Spanish person. So I just want to put that out there, Dan.
All right,
A black cat?
a Latino cat.
A black cat. There's your ace in the hole.
A
So again, I was mentioning the whole piano thing. But though there was a line in there where he says, it kind of goes from like he's doing this flow, but then he kind of slows down where like in old school rap, they'll kind of really pronunciate, certain words like overemphasize, and he goes, I was late, damn near every day. Wah-ba-da-ba-da. And I was like, oh shoot, that's like that old school, like,
Okay.
my hat, I got a hat. My hat's backwards like freaking Dan. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So so I like how he did that. To me, I found it satirical a little bit. I'm sure he probably did that. But for me in my end, I'm like, what the hell? You just came out of nowhere with that. Like, okay. And then he set up that tone with that, 90s rap drum feel. So it was really interesting for me as far as how that song goes. So Keela, what you got? What you think about this song?
um, I really like the slowed down pace again. Again, there's a lot of shifting. Uh, the pacing changes a lot within the album, so I like that. The Heart of a Lion was more upbeat after Solo Dolo being more down, and now we're kind of coming back down again. Um, I like the little piano touches in the background, especially at the end. Doom, doo, 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 doom, doo, 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 doo. Like
Yep.
it's a nice little touch. Talking about vulnerabilities again here. All the instead of all the ladies because they talk down, I was too artsy, known to be a clown.
Yep.
And I love that. I'm assuming he's doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that little touch at the end of it. But again, feeling kind of like an outcast, like a nobody, It's not popular. He's too in his own head. He's too artsy, and he looks at his talents, the things that make him great at what he does, as like a hindrance to him because he's not able to get the girls, or he's not cool, or he's not doesn't fit in with the people around him, whatever it is. So it's another touch on the vulnerabilities that we talked about in like Soundtrack to My Life.
Yep, recurring
Um,
theme. Yep.
yep. This almost felt like a little bit of an origin story. Talks a lot about when he was a kid, and like when he was like first trying to get through the grind of like putting out some music with no money and doesn't know anybody and just trying to like stay on it. I was heavy, heavy, heavy on my grizzle.
Yep.
That trying to like just focus on putting the time in and like the struggle of it, getting through the struggle of it. This still feels like it. Remember I talked about I'm not sure if the album is meant to be a dream conceptually or whatever. This still has that feel to it. It's still got that atmosphere around it. A lot of twinkling, a lot of
Mm.
kind of just like soft touches in the production of it. So
Yep.
we're keeping that on theme.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Definitely, that was definitely the that vibe with what you just said. That spacey, he's in this like trance and this and that, and I forgot how much of vocal he tries to put some of his vocal dynamics in this in certain parts.
Hmm.
Um, so Dan, what you think about this My World track?
Uh, and here we are back to messing with.
And blue.
Uh, I, I'm sorry. Uh, I thought the production value was all spent on the beat on this one. All their time and energy was spent on the beat.
Mm,
Everything that Angel said with it really stuck out to me, and I was
no.
like, "This beat's really good." And then his delivery is back to bland and emotionless, and I was,
What about
ah.
that chorus though? The vocal delivery on the
I'm
chorus.
talking about like the verses,
Okay.
Versus, okay.
and that that you got to get through the verse first to get through the chorus.
That's usually how that works. Yeah.
Yeah, well, not always,
Not always.
but in this case, and it was like it was a struggle to get there. It felt like it's like,
Mm,
all right, come on. Then
yeah.
when you break down the lyrics, I thought the lyrics were cool. I like the direction he was going in, but it just was
Hmm.
put some of that charisma you had in Lion into this song,
Into this song, yeah,
Mm.
and now, oh, hold on, this is a dope fucking song.
yeah.
But instead, we're going back to that melancholy type
Hmm.
droniness. The beat's not calling for that. Like there's a time and a place for things, and I
Hmm.
that's where it's like, oof,
What were you
there's
gonna
too
say,
much.
Kyle? Like, I think we.
I just think that like yeah, the charisma in Heart of a Lion it was a strong point of that song, but also Heart of a Lion is a more upbeat,
But I'm not saying
self-motivational
upbeat.
song.
I'm not saying up.
But the tone
I'm
of
not.
it lyrically is more like hyping yourself up kind of thing. And the tone of this song lyrically, it feels more reflecting on like melancholy and like he's more closer to depression here. So I think the delivery fits that way. I can understand if just sonically you don't like it, that I can understand that, but I think it just fits the theme of the song a little bit better.
I'm torn between both of you guys' opinion because it's like in that My World chorus, it really felt right, but the verse, I kind of geared towards Dan's take on that. I was like,
That's
yeah,
what
yeah.
it's like.
Um, but the thing is that I
There's.
kind of like it like that too at the same time because I could feel like he's in his.
I was struggling back and forth, and I thought maybe Kyle would actually help with this. Where
Mm,
go back, Kyle, and listen to it again.
I think
Maybe
I will.
it's just he's flat and not in key.
Oh,
But again,
could
it
be,
goes
yeah.
into what I think it's the delivery, but I'm not sure what it is.
he sounds tired. He sounds very tie-tie. I don't think of him as a wordsmith. I think of him more as like a storyteller.
Yes,
He's
yeah,
more
Yeah,
it's
but
more
yeah.
narration.
you could
Yeah.
tell a story without rhyming.
Yeah.
You
So
know
yeah,
what I mean?
he's got that to it for sure. But
Well, that's what I mean.
yeah, but I
No,
mean
no.
he's
Well, I
not
like more. when I say rappers that I like more guys that are much more wordsmiths than him,
Hmm.
or like really dialing down. But he's also not doing the dummy rappers out there. What are they called? Mumble rappers. He's
Mumble
not
rap,
doing
Yeah.
yeah,
that. He's
the
not doing.
nonsense.
Who's that? Who's that? The
Lil
one you
Pump.
always talk about.
Douchebag McClown.
No, the one Angel always talks about.
As far
That
as
girl you always send
Fucking
us.
up party
Sexy
favors.
Red.
Yeah,
Sexy
like
red.
it ain't like that where it's not.
Booty
You can
rap.
see it is thought out. You can
Yeah.
see it is thought out. So when it
And
comes
Yeah.
to rap, like I
from
do
a
like
from
to
a
hear that.
writer's perspective too, it is sometimes when you're trying to be too clever. Some people have this skill, some people don't. But when you're trying to be clever, you kind of miss the point of what you're trying to say. Sometimes it's
No,
more
100%.
effective of just. And I'm not saying good or bad
No,
about
so I'm
anything.
saying he's good at
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm
But
saying like he's not. It's just
I'm saying
throw a
maybe
little bit
that's
of
that's what his
character.
style is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I'm saying create a little bit of more of a character, charisma, something into some of these deliveries,
Hmm.
and fix the fucking
You,
production.
I um I think I was really I really like what you're saying, Kyle. Like I think of him as more of a storyteller. If anything, I think of him. I think his strength is more in singing than it is rapping.
Mm,
And when I think of when I think of, hey, what's your favorite rapper, Angel? I never mention Kid Cudi. I'll mention something like Moral Technique, Cannabis, Eminem, stuff like that.
Yeah,
Um, but to me, Kid Cudi is he's such his own thing and such his own like little I don't know how to word it, but there's something he has his own little craft and his own little way of doing something, and I
he
can't
has.
really. Yeah.
He definitely has his own style,
Yeah. Yep.
but
uh, all right, so next track, Day and Night. So this song, I want to say this was actually the number. I think this was the first hit before everything else. This song very much like a single, and I one of the interviews I watched, the producer said that he was kind of hinting that Kid Cudi wanted to make this like a radio hit, and I definitely got that from this song. Like I like it a lot. Not as much as the other songs, but it's definitely up there for me, more in the middle there. Part. I love that line. The lonely loner wants to free his mind at night.
mm,
Like classic stoner, good vibes, kind of chill, kind of track. This is definitely one of the songs I play. I don't delve into it as deep as the other ones, but it just a nice song to have in the background, especially when you're smoking a fat blunt. Um, and there's some expression of weakness. Um, what was it? What was it? Oh yeah. This was his line. He says, he smokes a clip and then he's on his way to free his mind. My mind. There's a little bit of that play with the pauses and stuff as he did in the was it the My World song? I think it was when he did. Oh no, no, it was in Solo Dolo.
mm.
Um, this song to me glamorized smoking weed. Like it was just kind of like when it's not really so much of a problem. But there were some lines where he hinted it. I forgot. I didn't write them down, but I know that he did kind of show a little bit of like the dark side, but he was more focused on like what it did for him as far as like calming his anxiety, as a way of like coping with the world and stuff like that. Just a cool, just I don't know. This song was just like a nice little cool tune, stuff like that. Yeah, that's how I feel about the song. Um, I don't know. I don't got anything else to say about this song. What you got, Kyle?
So I love that melody, the opening melody. Do 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 do
Yeah.
do 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 do. To me, that's iconic.
Yep.
It's it makes more sense now if you're saying he was trying to write a radio-friendly song. But
Yep.
it's probably how they landed on a melody like that or chose a melody like that. But I love that. It's simple but catchy. Um, lots of I think there's some introspection and introversion here I have written down. So lines like "Madness to magnet keeps attracting me," "Madness
Yeah.
to magnet keeps attracting me, me," and there's that repetition again that you were talking about.
Yep.
That lonely loner seems to free his mind at night, like you already said. So it's more like introversion, the lonely loner, um, and like introspection. Like why do I keep attracting all these crazy things to me? Madness to magnet keeps attracting me.
Yep.
The girl he wants don't seem to want him too.
Oh yeah.
He,
Yep.
he
That
seems
line.
alive though he's feeling blue. The sun is
Yep.
shining, man. It's super cool. So it's like almost self-deprecating or just kind of. brushing off the fact that like his girl just left him or doesn't this girl doesn't want him. He's sad about it. But like, oh yeah, but the sun is shining. Look, it's everything is cool, right? And he's just kind of like, yeah, super cool. Yep, I'm gonna go get stoned and fucking ride around at night and be away from people because he can't relate to that idea of the sun is shining, man. He's super cool.
Cool.
He's more like it still feels like he doesn't maybe he doesn't feel like he belongs like with normal people. Like he's still trying to figure out why he is the way he is. Um, that's why he goes to free his mind at night because that's maybe the only place that he feels comfortable or like himself or authentic. And that little whatever 10-15 second thing they do at the very end of the song where it drops na
Oh,
na 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 that felt like almost like a dream within a dream because it just kind of felt it felt the first couple times I heard it I was like it didn't need to be there but it grew on me a little bit I guess because it feels if the theme is the dream and this is almost like he's like it like fades away into another dream with that Cleveland status grind all day.
yep.
I don't know. I make it make sense, but I don't know if it does actually make sense. So,
Before I get to Dan, I'm sorry, I forgot that I had notes. I watched the production, the producer who helped do this song. I don't know what his name is. Completely, it's not Rat some other random guy. That part of the song was an accident.
was
He
it?
says in the yes, he said, and I was like, oh, Dan might like this because I mean he's not gonna pick up it from listening to it, but it was one of those happy accidents. So what happened was that at the end of the song, the guy, the producer, hit the wrong command key. Instead of hitting record, he hit space shift instead, and he accidentally slew that part of the song down. And he said
Oh.
that he turned to Kid Cudi and he went, "Oh my God, that works!" And he's like, "Oh, it gives me goosebumps just talking about it." But
Oh, that's
that
cool.
was a total accident. If I didn't accidentally didn't pay attention and press the wrong key, I would have never slew that part down, which would have been more of that, reoccurring theme with the dream and stuff like that.
Right.
Um, so
Huh.
and yep,
No, I didn't know that.
yeah, so he that was not meant to be in the song. They didn't do that intentionally. It was an accident in the studio. Uh,
That is cool that
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 is.
happened.
Huh.
yeah,
I like that.
if you look up on YouTube, it's called Apple Genius, whatever that hosts up. It's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's it's one of those type of interviews, and the guy was talking about that. Real quick on like what the producer said about when writing this. He said that Kid Cudi had a long shift at Abercrombie and Fitch, and he showed up to the to the studio, and he said that they didn't know what they were gonna do. So Kid Cudi was actually at when he was at his job, he was actually like trying to think of a hook, but no music, no nothing in the background. He just came in. He's like, "Oh, I got an idea, but I just all I got is a hook." Everything it was. This song was produced on that one line he was thinking throughout the day at his job, and the producer just based everything on that. He based. I think he wrote. What did he say? He said that um he first had the hook. He had him sing it. Then after that, he did the bass line with a synth, but it wasn't really working out. So he went on Craigslist to try to find random beats. I guess at the time Craigslist was kind of like YouTube, where you can just take something or whatever,
Hmm.
because he wanted to find a specific tone, not to steal a melodic line, but just find a specific tone for the bass. So he did that. He went on Craigslist and he picked up a certain tone that he wanted to use. Then he started playing the same melody, the same bass line or whatever on the synth. He's like, "Oh, this works out better."
Huh.
Then he said that he laid down the synth and the hi hat were both in the eighth kind of thing, but he ended up cutting one part out, and it was just like really interesting how the whole thing came about. Um, but yeah, uh then that's when he started talking about after I laid out those all those parts, and the song was pretty much this was just gonna be you know the whole song with just tweaking certain things. That's when he said, and then what took it home was when I did that accident with the command keys, and that really brought it together because he didn't know how he was gonna end the song. He was
Huh.
really stuck on it and just playing it, and then maybe out of frustration or whatever, he just hit the wrong thing, and boom, and it happened right there. So
Huh.
yeah, so I wanted to throw that in. It was a very interesting to watch, like him talking about that.
Yeah, that's
But
cool.
all right, I'm gonna pass it up to Dan. What you got on this song?
Uh, I thought the song was cool. It was
All right, that's enough for you, Dan. So let's go to the next song. I'm just making you.
I thought the lyrics were a little bit basic on this one. They were a little bit basic, but they fit well.
Yeah.
So, he wasn't doing any word jumbles or anything, but I thought it was an all right song.
Yeah,
Like you said, it was. I. It's funny you say that he wanted this to be a single, because like, part of me can feel it, but for it to be a single, it, it would fall a little short.
yeah,
I feel like I
yeah,
don't see this being a single. I see this being like one of the better like B sides to this
yeah,
album,
yeah. I can agree with you on that one. This one didn't stood out to me
where
as
it's not
so much.
like Heart of the Lion, but it's not simple, whatever that song was.
All
I
right,
get
next
you too.
song, "Sky Might Fall." This one, what I liked about this song, this put me in a feel of like when everything's going wrong in life, and you just don't feel like things are not lining up. This song gave me that feel where it was just like, you know what, I'm gonna just accept it and keep going. That's the type of vibe I got from this song. And it's just kind of funny, like the visualization I got from the song when I hear it is you guys ever watch Pirates of the Caribbean? Like there was one where like it's a popular scene where like the guy's walking down the ship, but it's in slow motion, but it's being like
Oh
shot with
yeah,
all
Yeah,
kinds of
yeah,
cannon,
yeah, yeah,
and he's
yeah.
just like,
Yep.
and to me, that's what the song makes me think of. The sky might fall, but I'm not worried at all.
Yeah.
So this song is I like one that I repeat not so much when I visit the album, but I'll play it just because I like that that feel like, hey man, shit's just getting all fucked up everywhere, but just keep walking, man. Don't let it affect you. Keep your cool, slow, and get through the chaos. Um, and one of the lines he says, oh yeah, great clouds up above, man, piercing through another land. Oh, and there's a little humming thing. Yeah, that line right there, those little lines right there, just kind of like hones into that whole like just channeling your inner peace to try to go through to whatever you're going through. So yeah, I don't have much about that one. That song, it was more just that the song just gave me an overall feel. So yeah, what you got, Kyle? What you think?
Another movement in this album, because it's again we're coming back to being upbeat, so there's a lot of ups and downs. So this is another example of that. Um, Another, obviously, the big chorus that you already talked about. Um, I like the I like the instrumentation on this. It's hard for me to, Dan. Thankfully, you're here because I think you pay more attention to instrumentation and like production than I do in general, but especially more than I do when it comes to hip hop. But that line, Angel, the one you already mentioned, the gray clouds stick together, fam, lightning piercing through another land.
Yep.
I wrote that line down too. It's just some nice imagery. You can see gray clouds sticking together and lightning coming down, skies falling apart, whatever. But I do really like his vocal registry coming up towards the end of this song. What is the lyric? Away, very far away to
Yeah,
another
yeah,
universe where other people say it's a
yeah,
new place for the special to. Like he's coming up again. I like
yeah,
that. Uh, Sky. We can say bye, bye, bye. The sky might be falling, but remember you can fly high.
yeah.
That was good. That's really good singing, I
Yeah,
think.
he's doing vocal. He's actually trying to change vocal range. Like he's
Yep.
trying to actually, yeah. Look at that. He's like, oh, duh,
Dan's
yeah.
like, yeah, no
And so
shit. Why don't you just do that? But again,
this
Dan. But again, that's happening on another more upbeat song. Same as Heart of a Lion. So I'll
but
let you talk about it.
literally,
That's fine. But
uh,
go
I
on.
I'll go when you're done,
I'm done. That's
please.
you can go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. So yeah, the arrangement was really good on this song.
Mhm.
But since you guys brought it up, to your points, both of your points, where Kyle, you're talking about his register and being able to sing at
Mhm.
different octaves and stuff like that. And Angel, you're talking about throwing little flares into songs here or there. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
In those
yeah,
other songs, if he just does these little things, not saying it has to completely change the course, but see how he did that and it stuck out to you.
yep, yep, yep.
And now, as a listener, it's not so drony, it's not so flat. It's not feel like I'm being pulled by the collar, being forced to listen to the song.
Hmm.
If he does so, this is so. I'll say this: by this point in the album, I'm like conflicted because
I'm sorry you suffer so much.
With the cat
I'm
ears.
sorry. I, I'm sorry. Meh.
no. So I'm conflicted because those other songs that I talked about, realistically, out of those other songs, Heart of the Lion was the only one that was like I liked. That was a to me was like it stuck out to me.
Mm,
And then you get down to this chunk where it's daylight, where it's oh sorry, not daylight, day and night, skyward falling. You get into this chunk and you're like, damn it, there's talent in here,
yeah.
but how come those other 4 or 5 songs just it fell flat? Where here I'm like, again, I'm like, yeah, this is a good song. Is
Hmm.
it like the greatest song ever written? No, but it's a solid song. It's a good song.
Yeah.
Which I feel like at this we're getting into the middle of the album. You really start needing like good songs because by now listeners are typically there. Okay, we're reaching our peak of interest. We're
Attention
reaching
span.
our peak of how much longer we can take this, and I think these 2 songs kind of nailed their placement, what they were supposed to do. So, but
All
yeah,
right. So the next song, Intergalactic. So this one, right, very different from everything else. He has a lot of. This is when he starts showing his funk like influences. Right off rip, you got like this very like, I don't know what but there's certain drumming
disco.
patterns that fuck me. Yeah, disco kind of feel. I'll be honest
Dance.
with you, like I like this song in terms of like, him trying to break out and trying to do like another tap into another genre. But wasn't too crazy about it. I didn't write a lot of notes on it, but I could see that, he was trying to write a love song. Is one of those like, let me try to woo that girl kind of thing. Um, then he like does another what they do in funk music where they stop singing and it's like as if they're like talking in your ear and they're trying to say sweet and I say yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
So I was never really into funk like that. I kind of like some songs like that, so I can appreciate the song because of that. And then again, but then it's called Intergalactic, so you kind of have like this like 80s sci-fi kind of like or 70s kind of like, oh yeah, we're going through the galaxy, girl, I'm gonna blow your mind, like this kind of stuff. And it was just like I can see Dan vibing out to this a lot. Me, it's like it's a little too left field for me, but you know yeah, go ahead, Dan, you take the lead on this one. Yeah, dude, you go ahead, you go off on this.
So wait a second. No, let just stay in order. Go ahead, Brad.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Did this go over your head, Angel? This is a song about not just trying to get laid, but this is a mushroom trip.
Oh,
Have it,
yeah.
have just one more cap, babe. Have just one more stem, babe. Get
Oh
ready,
man,
pop it, let's go.
shoot,
Intergalactic, you and me.
you and me,
Yeah, yeah,
psychedelic funk. It
yep.
makes sense.
Psychedelic funk. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh man, I missed that. I
Yeah.
missed that. Yeah. Yeah.
I
Shame on
have
me.
it written down that I didn't catch the dance feel or I didn't put that together, but you're right. That's really cool that he's got some dance funk elements on in there. It still feels kind of like a dream, but mixed with a psychedelic trip. Um,
Yeah.
Another catchy chorus that I was just singing, and he's got some weird dichotomy of like philosophizing, but then like he goes right back to spitting games. Like it's easy
Yeah.
to imagine, but it's easier to just do. If you can't do what you imagine, then what is imagination? He goes on this like whole little
Oh,
ramble,
fuck, yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah,
he
yeah.
breaks away from that, being like, "I like when you talk because your voice is angel-esque," and
Yeah.
like he starts spitting game like right after that. I want to kiss you on that space below your navel, so moist
Yeah.
like towelette. Like, dude, what is this guy doing? um,
Tell it, isn't that like that French stuff you read on like
Towelette.
fragrances and shit like that? Like,
I think so. Like a moist towelette that's like just
yeah,
like
yeah,
something
Yeah.
to
yeah,
wipe something
It's
down
what
with.
you
Yeah,
clean your hands with.
yeah,
yeah. We
yeah,
don't.
yeah. So I think it's really cool. It's a nice change of pace, and I'm happy Dan likes this song. I understand why I like this song too. It's a really good song, but kind of
Easy
it's
now.
the monologue setting up Act Three. Um, that's Common again doing the monologue, right?
Yeah,
Yep, yep.
Yeah. So
he does the monologues throughout the whole album.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
He has a
um,
very distinct voice. I'm shocked you didn't realize that.
I guess I don't think I know Common. I just thought it was Cuddy saying it. I don't
Black people sound the same to him.
know.
Okay,
No.
Who's
you
that?
know,
Snoop
Alright.
Dogg?
Common's
Alright.
also
Alright, we're
he's
gonna have to
also
edit
an
that out.
actor.
Um,
Oh
He's
yeah, that's
also
right.
an
He's done.
actor.
Yeah. He's done acting too. I forgot about that.
okay. Yeah, I don't
Completely
got much
forgot.
else to
Yeah.
say.
Yeah, no, but that was great. What you just brought up, I was like, man, I completely forgot about those parts. That's one of those songs I don't play a lot when I go back to the album,
Mm,
Intergalactic. That's one of them on the list. There's three other ones on there, but that's one of them.
mm,
Um, all right, so Dan, what you got?
Uh, so going back to what I was saying before, where usually in the middle of the album you need something to kind of break it up. This song definitely breaks it up. Where's it
mm,
fall? Right in the middle.
mm,
Mm,
Uh, it's awesome. It's a super fun song. It does exactly what it needs. It definitely I was struggling throughout the rest of this album. This song finally really grabbed my attention. Uh, it's a cool, fun song, super fun. I like his word plays on this one. Yeah, it's awesome.
all
Yeah,
right, all right. So
super
next,
fun.
yeah, it does have that cool little, and
yeah,
that
yeah.
that little
It's a
arpeggiation
fun
going in the
like
back. Yeah,
out of all the other stuff. This is the song that makes you like, oh man, let's go dance.
yeah,
Yeah, there's not a whole
Which
lot of
is
dance
like
songs on this
this
album.
album fucking needed.
yeah. It was just definitely that thing. Um, man, I complete. Yeah, this is one of the songs I kind of didn't put more time into, and I'm glad you guys are bringing this up because now I'm appreciating it a lot more. Shoot, I wish I delved into this one more.
You
And
should
it,
go back and listen
yeah,
to it again.
yeah, I should listen. This is one of those songs I kept skipping over a little bit. Like I didn't really. I just want to be sad. You know what I'm saying? I'm a cat. We're just like all the time and shit, hanging by a windowsill and whatnot, looking out the window. I get the windowsill right there.
Looking for birds.
Um, okay, so next track, Alive, in parentheses, Nightmare. This song, there was like one line in the song where, oh, again, so Ratatas involved in this one, and I do like the guitar melody that goes with, I think it's with the chorus, I think it was,
Yeah,
every
it is.
time, wow, wow,
Yep.
da, 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 da,
Yep.
yeah, this one's another one that was pretty cool. Not up there for me, but there's some interesting good stuff going on there. I did write one line. I didn't know what he meant by this, but like he says, "My skin is burning when my rock begins to speak." Um, did
Is
that
it
line
rock
stood
or
up?
heart?
Heart? Is it
I
heart
thought
or
it was
rock?
heart.
Oh yeah, when my wait, are you sure?
Skin is burning when my heart
Mm,
begins to speak. Is
what
when
was
my
it?
heart begins
Oh
to speed. Is something going
yeah,
on with me?
that's what it was. That's what it
When
was.
my
Okay,
heart begins to speed. Is something going on? Yeah.
yeah, that one. Shoot, I thought I was just listening to that. I thought he said the word rock. I'm like, what the hell is he talking about? He's doing crack. Yes, he did do a little coke. He did a little coke. I don't know if he did crack, but he did a little coke. That was another one of his addictions that he was struggling with. I thought he was talking about a drug reference here and like talking about temptation and stuff like that. But never mind. One word. Now my interpretation is
Completely changed.
changes. It makes no fucking sense now. Jesus Christ. Yeah. All right, you take it away, Kyle. Yeah.
um. Yeah, I like that same guitar melody that you were talking about that comes on the chorus. There's a little keyboard melody sprinkled in the
Mhm.
verses that I thought was kind of cool, and I really like that. Is that a synth? The wah wah
Yeah.
da, 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 da,
Yeah.
da,
Yeah.
or like a
And
sample.
then
I
the
like
rope,
that
the
too.
rope sounding thing in the back, the
Yeah.
yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yep.
Like you're in
Yep.
the Wild West. Yeah.
So
Another one.
go
Mhm.
ahead.
No, no, that was it. Go ahead.
Um, there's a couple lines I wrote down here, not because I think they're particularly clever, but because I'm trying to piece together what this song means. So ain't nothing wrong, I'll be feasting on something brave. I hope she can find the man within the beast. I watch the sun collapse and tuck up in the clouds. I am the lone wolf, go where I wanna. Um, Is this dude? Is this a song about a werewolf like chasing down a fucking
Yeah,
like a beast or something?
yeah. I forgot about that. It's
Am
like
I?
no, no,
Is desire.
It's the
desire.
so
Yep.
the beast represents
It's
desire.
it's something inside him.
Yeah. Trying to be the same with your $1 million sequels. I like that. It's not. I
Mm.
don't think it's like related to anything super deep thematically to the rest of the song, but just the idea of like you want to take this original, unique thing, throw a bunch of money at it, and you're trying to be the same with trying to be the same with your $1 million sequels. I think that's just a cool line, funny
Yeah.
line. But yeah, that's about all I got.
All right. What you got, Dan? Go ahead, destroy
Uh,
this.
I love the bass tone in the beginning of the
Yeah.
song. Uh, vocals they in the verse they fit, but it's just a little underwhelming. But the third verse that hit so good.
Mm,
Like I kind of wish that third verse was more with all that energy and enthusiasm behind it and stuff. I wish the other verses were like that, but yeah. Other than that, I mean, again, it's just it's an alright song. It's not terrible. It's fun when you break down the lyrics. Being able to play, different people will have different perspectives. I can definitely see it that way on this song,
Yeah.
but
yeah, I think
he
you're right.
kind of leaves it open for interpretation, what it is exactly he's talking about. But other than that, I think it's cool. It's all right.
All right. All right. So Cudi Zone. This one. This is where like the album starts catching my attention, and I really like this
Mm,
Cudi Zone song.
mm-hmm.
Soaring is disallowed.
Yes.
Should have made
Wait,
my
wait,
daddy
wait. Did you
proud.
just say this is where it starts catching your attention?
Yeah.
We went through all those songs and it didn't catch
Yeah.
your attention, but yet
It
you
was
were
kind of.
so hyped on this album. I fucking hate you.
Yeah.
But
You're welcome.
okay.
So let me go ahead, motherfucker.
Dad.
All right, so Cuddy Stone, he says the very first lines, soaring is disallowed. I should have made my daddy proud. No, like this song, like out of all like the upbeat more fun, this was the one I like the most. Um, he's talking about again delving into his past. Uh, some dad issues going on. He died early. He talks about some lines. There was another line he says, oh, that's right. This is the line that I thought Dan would like in this song is shut your mouth before I fuck it. Hot
Hot
my
Mike
jokes that
Jones.
would love it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shoot, I know Dan. I wrote it right here. It's like, oh, Dan's gonna like this song right here. Um, but yeah, and the beginning of it too is like, "Du-du-du." It gives you like this, like it makes me
Mm-hmm.
think of like when you go to concerts, it's like a light show's coming on, like something's bright. You could feel the brightness through the instruments and
Yeah.
and this. Um, and then he goes to the chorus. It's really mostly the chorus that really caught me on this one a lot. It's what was the words again?
Wind
Yeah,
sounds
yeah.
like ooh.
Ooh, I'm feeling all right. I'm feeling all right. Da da da. So yeah, out of all the more positive one, this is one I like the most. And interesting how he called it like Cuddy Zone. Like he even put his last name on that. Like he's really identifying or he's trying to like bring that better side of him. That he wants to keep going. So yeah, that's pretty much what I got for that song. But I do like it a lot, even though I'm not saying a lot about it. That's definitely I play that one when I revisit the record. So, Kile, what you got?
Um, the jumping synths in the melody. Dun dun dun. Those aren't
Yep.
synths. Those are strings, right? Probably
hmm
violin or something.
I
Dun dun
I thought it
dun.
was
Da da
I
da
thought it
da
was
da
like a synth
da. Da
emulating
da
a
da da
violin.
da.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really like that. It puts a nice texture on the melody.
Yep.
Um, floating, coping, hoping I can find peace somewhere in my mind.
Oh.
So like coping with weed,
Yep.
or drugs or whatever the fuck he's or music even you could say he's coping using to cope, but he's acknowledging that he's got coping mechanisms because this is a happier song, but he's still acknowledging that like he's got these little things he has to do to kind of keep himself up, you know,
Yep.
happy. um, that chorus is huge, like you said. I do like when he brings his register up. I don't need it to happen every song, but I do like it when he does stretch his vocals a little bit and play around the woo and like hitting the falsettos and all that shit.
hmm
Yeah, it's just really good. It's a really good song.
Yeah. He does a lot of like he's trying to do more with his vocals on this one, and I think again, like I feel like I wish he did. I wish he did that. Like what Dan was saying, he would do more of that vocal play and try to explore his sound more, stuff like that. But man, it's just like this song just feels so good. It's so airy feeling. It's such a there's something about there's such a vibe with this song.
Hmm.
All right, Dan, what you got?
Uh, so lyrics are sick on this song. Starts off, especially once you understand about the passing of his father. There's a dark undertone throughout this song.
Hmm.
I know it's like more positive, more upbeat, but there is. I kind of got like this darker ambiance throughout this song, which was kind of weird. I did like it. I thought they made it fit very well. Um, I thought uh, it was a thicker overall track. It sounded better. The instrumentations, they're doing all those little things that I talked about before: instrument breaks, changing of the rhythms during different sections. Uh, he's adding more characteristic to his vocal delivery, still carrying that darkness undertone to it, or that sadness, that type of ambiance throughout it. I see. This was a song that I absolutely loved. This was definitely a song I liked, and this was a song that made me realize even more that all those other songs in the beginning of the album, like you could have done these things
Mm,
to these songs and they could have been better, but for whatever reason they didn't. So
mm,
that, like, to me, to what you said earlier, like I would like to see it remastered or reworked or whatever, re-recorded. I'm like, this song tells you that they could have, and they just chose not to. That was probably his artistic vision, which is, it is what it is. There's nothing you can do. But to me, this shows that they had the capability or the
mhm.
know-how to do it, and they just fell short on those other ones. But this one's a killer song.
Yeah. All right, next song, "Make Her Say." So this one, I feel like this one's he was just trying to like shoot for the radio friendly thing. He did the he took off the sample from that Lady Gaga song,
Hmm.
make him say oh 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 oh. That was pretty cool.
Poker
Oh
face, yeah.
yeah, the Poker Face song. It's like a laid back song. I seen the video and it gives off that vibe. Like he just it's just something that he just wanted to like. He got Kanye West on this track. Um, and then I believe that comment comes at the end of this. He says, "I
Oh yeah.
embody everything from godly to party." Oh yeah, the comment does a verse on this,
Hmm.
and I liked out of all the verses, I liked Common this one more
Yeah.
because there was this one line he says, "I embody everything from godly to party. It's the way I was raised on the South Side Safari." Like this is like to me brought up that whole thing about the inner fight between impulsive and being conscious. This whole duality thing, and Common's always been like a deep thinker, a deep guy, deep kind of rapper, and you got the two verses with Cudi and Kanye. They're kind of more focused on the whole like trying to woo girls, stuff like that, those type of lines, and then Common comes around at the end and he just kind of just gives it like this, you know, more conscious direction. So even though that song had a very like single kind of vibe to it, and it was kind of sort of passive, I'm glad that Comment brought it did that at the end of the song. So yeah, that's my take on that one. What you got, Kyle?
Not my favorite song. Also, first song in a long time, if not the only song on the album that doesn't have a chorus, unless you count Poker Face at the end of the song. But that's
Yeah.
The
not hit.
sample is the chorus.
It's not. It's that's yeah. That's what I mean. It's not a written chorus. It's a different chorus from a sample. That
It's
doesn't.
written by someone else.
That's what I mean, and I don't like that. I like.
Huh?
I mean, it's not that I don't like that they're using samples. Is that I don't. I naturally gravitate towards a chorus, and I think one of the strengths throughout this album are his choruses. And I don't like this song as much as the rest of the album. Just so happens this song doesn't have a chorus. Doesn't really have a chorus. So,
Yeah,
um,
yeah, he did. He kind of did like the typical hip hop thing where like he they take a sample as a kind of that's more of a rap thing. Like I don't know if you guys ever heard like no
Nah, No, they usually rework a chorus or something like that. They don't take it this blatantly. Not this blatantly.
But like in a lot of '90s rap songs, they kind of
Tell
just
me
like,
one.
huh?
Tell me one.
Well, like, well, I'm talking more like
90s
cannabis.
rap, you're talking about like
Oh, I'm talking
Biggie,
about.
Tupac,
Oh, no. I mean like the more underground
Wu
country, but like
Tang.
no, I'm thinking about Rakim, Cannabis, those type of guys. They'll do verses and then drop samples in between. And there was a whole debate of they were trying to like distinguish rap songs and hip hop songs, and then Wu Tang and with the ones you're saying got pushed over. It was like this whole argument at the time. Um, I don't know. It's whatever. I'm not siding with either
But
one.
I have no idea. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't know.
that was the thing. If you look up like the rap versus hip hop argument, that took around somewhere in the '90s in that place. So I thought maybe he was just trying to like, I don't know, gear towards
Well,
that.
it's funny you say that because I wrote Brad, are you done?
I do have one line that I
Oh,
have written down that I like just because I think it's kind of clever. I think it's actually Kanye, but says getting brain in the library because I love knowledge. When you use your medulla oblongata and give me scoliosis until I comatosis and yet do it while I sleep. Yeah, a little osmosis. That's my
yeah,
commandment.
that
You ain't
was
gotta ask
Kanye.
Moses. More champagne, more toasters, more damn planes, more coasters, and fuck the bus. The Benz is parked like Oza. So the Rosa Park reference there, like, yeah, we're not
Yeah,
sitting
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
back of the bus anymore. Now we got the Benz. We're balling. We're doing good.
yeah.
I just thought that was
See,
clever.
like that's like normally the rap that I listen to or hip hop, whatever you want to call it. Like that type of wordplay and double entendres and stuff. I
Hmm.
like a little bit more. That's what I typically gravitate towards. But
hmm
Yep.
yeah,
Was
That's
that
sorry.
Cudi? That was Cudi's part, or was it Kanye?
No, that was
I think that was
Kanye.
Kanye.
Which
That was
that
Kanye. Yeah, yeah. It sounds like a Kanye thing. Yeah, that
Cudi
was.
kind of pissed me off on this track because I went, oh, Kanye, that was dope by Kanye
To collab.
because
Oh, because
because
well,
because Kid Cudi's part was so it was a little lackluster, and then
Yeah,
Kanye comes out with that. Yeah, I picked up on that Rosa Park reference on there, and I was
yeah,
like, damn, like
yeah,
it was actually really his part was really well written. Fuck,
yeah.
damn. But no, it's funny what you were talking about, Angel, because I definitely got kind of like an old school rap vibe feel from it.
yeah,
So like that was one of the take homes for me. I liked that they used the sample so blatantly and reworked it into something and
yeah,
made it their own. I thought that was cool. It's especially such a popular song like that.
yeah,
It's an
That
interesting take
that,
on it.
that I feel like that song came out right around if we were all working together and
Yeah, I
this
was thinking
album
about that too.
was
Like,
out,
how
this
long was that
that
song out before
that
they
poker
sampled it? Yeah,
that poker face, yeah, had to have. So they took that right at its peak.
yeah. Right at the gates. I thought
Or
it was.
like it was still probably fresh,
Yep.
you know, maybe a year or two, and they took something that big, that popular, and made it into their own thing so blatantly. It's not like they
Yeah.
tried to hide it, like they took a synth part or something and buried it into the mix somewhere. No, they used their fucking chorus.
hmm, yeah.
And
It's like, oh, we taking that shit.
they
Taking the
yeah
whole shit,
they
and put
did
it in there.
it, they did it their own way,
I
so
would
I thought
imagine
that was
maybe.
cool.
All right. So the next song. This is my favorite song of the whole album.
Yup.
Pursuit of Happiness. Oh, this song. I even covered this song with you guys when I was in that band. Because I don't know if he was inspired by this. I didn't see enough interviews on it, but I felt like he was a little bit inspired by the actual movie Pursuit of Happiness, with Will Smith. You guys ever seen that movie?
No.
Oh, you've seen it, right? And
I have.
yeah, and not that he referenced the song or anything, but it kind of gives me like almost like the same message, like pushing through, trying to get through a certain place, um, trying to, because like in the movie, the guy was, what was it? He was struggling with his son. He was pretty much homeless, this and that, but he didn't give up on his dreams, even though like everything was just not. It was going so bad to the point where like he couldn't, you didn't know if he was gonna get through. He was just like lacking the basic necessities, stuff like that. And Cudi had really really bad struggles, especially because of drugs and stuff like that. And this song, um, Ratatat, out of all the stuff that Ratatat worked on, Evox, that guy who worked on this, he actually was very passive and very he didn't really have a lot of hope for the song. He only did it because a lot of people were telling him, "Hey, this kid is coming up. He's blowing up on MySpace." So he said, he was kind of like, "Oh fuck it, I'll see if I can do something for him." So like the first thing that he started with this song was before the lyrics, before anything else, he started with the main chord progressions of the song, and you hear right at the beginning of the song. Dun, dun. I think it's like that basic 1/4 or whatever the fuck it is, 1/4/5. But he first started with the with those chord changes on an old school ragtime piano,
Huh.
and yeah, it was kind of random. Like a ragtime piano was gonna like blow this up.
Is that what you're
Like
hearing at the very end of the song? The ding,
yeah,
ding, ding, ding,
yep,
ding, ding. Cool. I know
yep,
it's a
yep.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yep. So yeah, then I watched the Genius on this, like the video, the behind the scenes and stuff. And yeah, he started with that melody. Then what came about that was what did he do next? He created that melody. Cuddy was feeling it. Then he started kind of like playing around with some words and stuff like that. Once he got an idea, when they got an idea which way they wanted to go with the song and the message and like the what was gonna be the hook and all that. Um the drums, he actually took the drums from uh old school Indian drum samples mixed in with he actually sampled a radiator steaming in his apartment or something like that. So there's a lot of weird things. You don't hear it like in that first thing. You kind of have to like look for it on the second time around. So when I
Hmm.
was watching, it's like, what the hell? He added all of that, and there was a lot of Ratatab really tried to. He said he wasn't trying to overcomplicate it, but still do his approach where he would just put these random samples from all different places, the random Indian drum sample tones and beats, and then to his radiator steaming, he recording that and he's like using that in the track. Um, what else did he do? He had three different kick drums, two different snares, and they come in and out throughout the song. I forgot which part where he takes off that 1 second one and brings it back again. So, and this is like actually simple for him because he does a lot more complicated things. Him being part of an electronic duo, and he said that he actually wanted to add a lot more than what he did. But then he was just like, I actually wanted to back out because I didn't know if the song was really gonna take off or stuff like that. He kind of did this just for the hell of it. It was like an in between thing for him, and he
Hmm.
was like, he was blown away that 10 years later, after he did the song, that still to this day was like a very memorable song, even though he treated it so passively at the time. He said, I'm glad I did it passively because going a lot simpler was right for him, right for the song and all that. Um, then I watched some interviews about the song because the song was really popular. He said that a lot of this song had to do with like combating suicidal thoughts. And he was very open about this. And then he mentioned the whole Jay Z thing. Like I couldn't relate with a lot of the rappers at the time. Um, what else? At the very end of the song, he talks about like when you're like, actually no. Before I get to that, let me guess. What's it? Oh yeah, when he says driving drunk, driving drunk, I'm doing my thing. Live well, something missing bullets. That part of the chorus, he's talking about
Hustle.
like
Is what that? Yeah.
no, I live the missing bullets. I'm
Yep.
in the pursuit of happy. So he's just talking about like not trying to give into like self-destructive behaviors, um, things of that nature. And in some of the intros that I watched when he was inspired to write the song, it's like he had a hard time trying to keep his dream alive and coping with like his addiction to these different drugs, coke, mushrooms, stuff like that. And at the end of the song, what I like about the end of the song is that he's all hungover and
Yeah.
he's just like
Yeah.
he's like,
Yeah.
oh, why I drink so much,
Why I
why I drink so
smoke
much,
so much?
ow. Even though like
Yeah.
right before that he was glamorizing the whole thing. He's like, oh, I'm partying, I'm having a good time. I mean,
Yeah.
everything that shine is not always gold, but this right, I'm gonna just gonna have a good time right here, and then regretting after. Again, that recurring theme of like him choosing between simple pleasures to like trying to pursue this dream and such. So yeah, I don't know. This song, I really, really like this song a lot. So yeah, that's what I got on this song. What you got, Kyle?
I love this song too. Um, Obviously, it might be my favorite song on the album. It's up there for sure. You mentioned that in the chorus, and I'm surprised I didn't catch this until you said it. I know what the lyrics are, but everything that shine ain't always got to be gold. I wonder if
Mm.
that's a nod to Zeppelin, to Stairway.
Oh shoot, I didn't even think of
You know
that.
what I mean?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Little
Because he
lady
he is a
next
Zeppelin
door,
fan. He's a
I
Pink
could
Floyd
tell
fan. He's
so.
a Zeppelin fan. He listens to all those classic rock. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's something that
Hmm, just
he
I
baked
don't know,
that stuff up.
random thought. Um, Referencing the night terrors again and the vulnerabilities that he has with his personal issues. Tell me what you know about dreaming. Tell me what you know about the night terrors every night. 5 a.m. cold sweats waking up to the sky. Um,
Yep.
Rather lay awake in a bed full of sorrow. Um, so yeah, that you saying that he's talking about depression and suicidal thoughts and kind of battling that when he was writing the song, that it makes sense. The beat is a little more up, a little more like it's not like fast paced or anything, but it's not a somber tone. It's a little brighter than like a
Yep.
solo dolo or what's the other one? Soundtrack to My Life.
Yep.
But lyrically, you're right. It does have that um, feeling of the depression and the sadness and um, the fuck it mentality, like you said, trying to avoid self-destructive behavior. I didn't put that connection together until you said it, but um, also a guitar solo in a rap
Yeah, I
song.
know, right? I know, right? What?
Yes, please. More of that. More of that in all of hip hop would be cool. Like, just because I don't know. I'm not gonna go on a rant.
Pursuit of Happiness. Here he comes again with that. For such a positive, upbeat song, he kind of has a boring delivery, but I think the song it is more positive. The guitar part was cool in it. It was an okay song overall. Like it just yeah, yeah, it was all right. I mean, it was well written, other than his flat delivery
Hmm.
on the verses. But
Hmm. All right, this next song, Higher. Um, Definitely another weed smoking song. And somebody was surprised. But in this one, what he says, uh, what is it? There you go. Oh my god, what was the one that he put? Oh man, I fucking didn't write it down. But I know there was references of like him complaining what the dark side effects of smoking too much. Shit, I didn't write the lines down. But I know that this was one of those things where he was just like, he's tired of being an addict. Even though the song is called Higher, one of the drawbacks with pot is that sometimes you just can't focus on certain things. Blah 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 blah. Affects the drive. That whole classic thing or whatever. So yeah, I don't know. This one, yeah, this was one of the ones where I was just like, kind of f about, but it wasn't bad either. So, Keto, what you got?
Puff puff pass with your bitch ass. Back in high school, smoked weed when I cut grass, and now I'm an
Yeah,
addict. Tragic, stay when he. I like that line. I say that line like just randomly out of nowhere. I like just at work sometimes. I don't know why that one sticks with me, but it does. Um, it's kind of like the opening of it. I talked about Pursuit of Happiness. He was falling asleep at the end of like a long bender or whatever, and now he's waking up again. It's even got the radio DJ with beautiful Sunday morning. It's like he's waking
yeah,
up the next day,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it makes sense now too that you're talking about him writing this song, talking about how he's kind of addicted and it's kind of affecting his life and like the negatives of being addicted to weed. So yeah, he just fucking blacked out in pursuit of happiness, and now he's waking up and he's thinking about like why the fuck did I get so messed up, whatever. Um, but I like the strings on it. It's got almost an R&B slash like soul feel to it,
yeah.
especially with
Hmm.
like the snaps for the instead of like a snare drum, it's got like the that kind of accent on it. Okay, Dan, you can take it.
Yeah.
You guys
it's
are getting
it's
saucy now.
it's
Sorry.
it's a stoner song. It's I didn't really like this song.
I like the chorus.
I mean, the production on it was fine for what it was. But it just had a stoner vibe throughout everything,
Yeah,
lyrically and the rhythm. It's,
Say easy, friend. They go talking about weed again.
eh.
that line right there. That was one of the things I was talking about,
Yep.
where he's just like, you say obvious things that you're addicted to weed because that's all that comes out of your mouth. Hey
Yeah.
man, let's go smoke a blunt. Hey man, that kind of
Mm-hmm.
stereotypical pothead thing. Um, but yeah. All right. So the next song, "Up Up and Away."
I like this song.
I really
I
like
like
the
it a lot.
chorus in this song. It's
I
like,
like it a lot.
oh, there's a lot of like African drum kind of feel on this song. That really
Oh yeah.
definitely comes. I really like that thing. Like it's almost like I go up, up and away, and it just almost feels like a kumbaya. You're in like in a circle, kind of like campfire kind of thing. So this one I did another one that's just really chill. Um, and obviously and then in this one he talks. It's so weird because now he's talking about the brighter side of weed, and he says, so what if I smoke weed? The stigma something. Oh wait, no. So what if I smoke weed? Caught up with the bud.
Feels like
He is being
love.
conscious. Yeah, the consciousness of like being looked at as a pothead is like, oh, he's just a fucking other pothead and stuff like that. But he's just celebrating. He's like, this is so what? This is a part of my identity. Yeah, I had a up and down roller coasters with this thing, but you know what? Fuck it. It does have its good moments. So, yeah, that's what I took away from this song. What you got, Keely?
Again, very upbeat. So more of that movement coming off of that like sleepy kind of lazy feel of higher, and now upbeat. I didn't realize "Man on the Moon" was the last song on the album. I thought it was, like I said, part of the deluxe.
Hmm.
But this would have been a cool way to end the album on this song. That upbeat um, feel to it. Wait, are you sure "Man on the Moon" is supposed to be on the album? I know it's
Yeah,
called. I know the album is "Man on the Moon," and that would make sense.
yeah.
But
No, but
End
he
of days. Man on the Moon. End of days.
yeah,
yeah,
so
because it's a three-part
Or
thing.
Days End or something. Yeah,
but
whatever
Yeah,
it is.
the monologue at the end of this song always signified to me that the album was done.
yeah,
And then going back again to the dream sequence or whatever. So if he was kind of lazily waking up in the last song, now he's like, all right, brush my teeth, get in the mirror, put my clothes on. Like now he's like fully awake and like starting a new day. So I think
yeah.
it was still thematic with the whole album being like a dream sequence.
Yeah, it's very cyclical. This
Hmm.
whole album, like the whole theme of coming into coming again. One of the videos in these, I forgot which song it is, but he does a video in one of these where he's like on the couch, he's smoking, this and that. He goes out the door, and when he goes out the door, I guess he blacks out something like that, and he wakes up in the couch, waking up again. And in one interview I saw, he said that the whole point with that is that what you're trying to get through something, you're trying to achieve something, but then you end up to back square one because of your own vices. I
Hmm.
forgot which video it was or which song it was. I kind of just I can't remember which song, but that's part of the whole cyclical and being the trap of an addiction and vice as you're trying to pursue your dreams.
So I
Oh
just looked it up. Uh, the deluxe version is has Man on the Moon. The
no, it
That
does.
original
makes
album.
that makes more. So it's
The
not part of the
deluxe
original.
version does. It's not part of the original.
Wait, what? It wasn't.
You know, I just looked it up.
Damn, I could have sung that song because I've heard that song before.
You probably heard it.
Oh shit.
That makes a
Damn.
lot more sense.
It does. No, once Rad said that about the outro, that monologue, it
Yeah.
made way more sense. Uh, yeah, I got more of a dance vibe to this song.
Mm.
It was kind of cool. It does make more sense to end it, and I even wrote that I really liked the outro, that outro monologue. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
So
The end is never the
yeah,
end. Yeah.
yeah.
But all right, so now we're at the end. Rating. This is 2 hours later. All right, no. So rating. I guess I'll go first. This album. All right, I know you made it. All right, Dan, you made a pretty good point. There was a lot of this that I didn't think I liked as much, but there was so much cool shit going on, even in the song "Alive." um, Intergalactic, um, what is it, Cuddy's, not Cuddy's Zone, Heart of a Lion, especially with that one. I was really thrown off by that one, how much you like that one. My World, but again, to me, the songs that really spoke to me, they're really, I just like them so much. Soundtrack to My Life, Solo Dolo, Pursuit of Happiness, um, Cuddy's Zone, uh, and what was the last one? Fucking it sucks because I wanted to add Man in the Moon, but Up and Away had a really cool way of like bringing this wrapping this up. So I gave the album an 8. Even though yeah there could have been a lot of improvements, a lot of things, but it was just like this just at the time, this what was going on at the time with hip hop and rap and the people that were coming out. This track, I think this album really stood out. Not a lot of people were doing what he was doing, and even he mentions that throughout the album. It was like he was being questioned, like, "Oh man, why are you doing like this? Why this that? Whatever, blah, blah, blah." But he didn't care. He just kept pushing, and
He talks about that on Man on the Moon. That
yeah,
track. Yeah.
um, so yeah, and I don't know. I think it was very interesting for a hip hop album. Very interesting. Like I'm more of a rock, metal kind of type of dude. It's very rare that I even try to like or listen to a whole album when it comes to hip hop. I always been very very extremely selective. Um, this was the first time where I was just like I was able to go through an album with hip hop music.
Wow.
Yeah, like Jay Z. When people say Jay Z, Biggie, Tupac, I tried. It just doesn't do anything for me. And then the times that hip hop did, one of the other ones that came close was like Jedi Mind Tricks, Immortal Technique, Cannabis. But most people don't even know what the hell I'm talking about when I mention these
Yeah.
things. So when you have somebody who is experimental, like a lot of the conscious rappers and stuff like that, and get onto the mainstream, I thought it was just amazing to do as a hip hop artist. So I'm gonna give it an 8. That's where I stand with that. All right, Kyle, what you got?
Uh, I don't. We could have probably predicted this, but it's still weird that it happened. I also gave it an 8.
What?
Yeah, yeah. I liked the song. Like, I liked this album, more songs on this album, I think, than you did. But
Yeah,
I really liked the unique. He's got his style. I just liked how unique this felt, and I even if it's underproduced in areas, it's still got that skeleton of like the narrating, trying to tell a story. I really like the concept of this is Act One, this is Act Two, this is Act Three, and then we're gonna wrap it up with an outro monologue. So like the idea is that like you're supposed to follow the journey of this character being Kid Cudi himself, like his life story or whatever up to that point. But I like a concept album, even
yeah,
though songs like Make or Say don't really fit in with that whole
yeah,
thing, kind of like outside of the structure. But um, love his choruses. I've already said it a million times. He's got a unique delivery vocally. He's actually willing to sing, which is not totally uncommon, but not super common in hip hop or rap.
yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot that I liked about this album, and yeah, I'm gonna settle on an 8.
Nice. All right, Dan.
Uh,
He's gonna bring this down to a 3.
uh, I applaud the concept of what he was trying to do. I feel like he needed to narrow his focus down. It was too much that he was trying to, and I understand it's about his life, and he could have easily done that by breaking it up into a three part out, which he ended up doing. He could have took each of those chapters. It seemed like too much was forced. Uh, Too much was rushed. Like I said, I felt a lot on this record. Uh, there were some highs on the record, but I just don't think those highs were. I just don't think they were that high. I don't think they were
Yeah, but he was
super
smoking though.
impressive. Huh?
Yeah, but he was
Great.
smoking though. It's high enough, bro.
I don't think. Yeah, I don't think it just. I give it a 3.8.
Woo!
Wow, you really did bring
All
it
right, you know
down
what,
to a
Dan? You're
3.
done. That's it. End of episode.
But can I say this? Can I say this? Can I say
Of
this?
course, yeah. Hell yeah.
Uh, so that's the non-deluxe version, the regular album. If you listen
Yeah.
to the deluxe version, there's 3 other songs, which if you
Oof.
have not heard them, those are well worth
Baby.
going to listen
What you
to.
doing?
And those are Man on the Moon, TGIF, and something Love. I can't remember. Something
Is
Love.
this love?
Those 3 songs would bring it
Is
up
there love?
higher. Yeah, something like that. I can't remember. But those 3 songs do bring it up higher. And I think if you
Is
take
there
those 3 songs with Heart of the Lion, Galactic, Cuddy's Own, Pursuit of Happiness, and Make Her.
Make her say.
Make her say.
Yeah, and then you take 1 or 2 other songs, any of the other 2 songs, probably World and Daylight, My World and Daylight.
Day and night.
Yeah, whatever, my fault. And took out everything else, you have a significantly better record. I felt there was just too much thrown into this record a lot that wasn't good.
Hmm.
So that's
Too many,
why
too many hands in the cookie jar. You had multiple different producers putting their hands on this.
I don't know. Like it was the whole trying to make this like different chapters of his life and this that. And so now when you're looking at it from the writing perspective, you have so much you have to say about each chapter, but you're trying to fit it in 3-minute songs. So you're rushing a lot of these things that could be developed into smaller subjects into bigger songs.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. I just think the focus on this record wasn't there, which sucks because you do definitely see glimpses of talent, like really legitimate talent and creativity and ability, but it was just I don't know, didn't do it for me.
I
Yeah,
just want to ask you
three.
a question. I want to ask you a question, Dan, real quick. Do
Yeah,
you so in hip hop, which are your do you have you liked any hip hop albums from start to finish, or just sort of just like certain
yeah.
rappers?
Anything from Wu-Tang Clan,
All the albums
uh,
from all any Wu Tang album from beginning to end.
yeah, or the earlier
Yeah,
stuff for me, but yeah,
that's what.
uh,
Mhm.
Aesop Rock Skeleton is fantastic. Labor Day,
Yeah,
by Aesop Rock. Yeah, like I listen to rap. Yeah,
yeah. No, I listened to it too, but it was so much harder for me to rap. Like before this album, the only other thing I could think of when it comes to rap is Jedi Mind Tricks, um Servants in
but
Heaven, Kings in
going back
Hell.
to what you were saying
Yeah,
with some of that stuff, like Jedi Mind Tricks, I like Jedi Mind Tricks, but I've never listened to a full album. It's
yeah,
like I've heard different songs from different albums, but
yeah,
like I like uh like Biggie Smalls, Hypnotized. Uh I like Tupac. Like I like entire albums where
yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah, because that's where I had a hard time. Because I really wanted to step away from rock and get into hip hop, but at the same time, it was just like, man, I'm so extremely picky with hip hop. Um, and Tupac, I respect everything you just made respect. But as far as the whole album, listen to him, there was not one single of those artists that was able, not even Wu Tang for me. I don't know
see
why.
Wu-Tang was super fun.
I recommend that
All
one.
right, so we're gonna wrap this episode up.
So wait, where does that where
Oh,
is
the
6.6.
that?
average.
6.6?
The devil's number. The devil's
Yeah.
Lannis.
Is it really?
6.6. Yes, it is.
Interesting. I like that. The devil's lettuce.
My fault, fellas. My fault.
Way to summon
No,
the devil angel.
I know, right?
Dan.
Shoot, Devil Dan
Oh.
I'm sorry.
hitting
I
on the
just
devil's lettuce.
it took too many tries for me to really get into it. So
Yeah. No, you're being honest. It's fine. This is what this
yeah,
whole thing is about. And I was just joking when I was just like, saying those things. I was just trying to make it more
No,
entertaining.
no, I
So,
know, I know.
yeah.
No, I know you're not like.
But
I
you
know
def
you're not like Red, who gets mad.
I do
yeah,
get
Yeah,
no,
mad.
you don't
and
like what I
Yeah, it's true.
like.
I do that. I'm trying to be better.
hey,
Everyone's
don't
growing,
don't make fun
Dan.
of his whininess.
Everyone's growing. Uh,
So we're gonna end this with an album suggestion from our fellow man Dan. Dan, what is it gonna be? What is it gonna be? What you got
It
for
is
us?
gonna be Deftones, White Pony.
Woo!
yeah.
What does
I'll
a pony
say
sound like?
sounds deaf.
Yeah. Now make it sound white. I think I'll use my credit card. No, I use my credit card. How are you doing today, sir? That's just there you go. All right, you're gonna have to cut that out. Bye, everyone. Have a good day. See, just close this thing right there.